Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday to you. It is Monday, September 25th, 2023. It's your boy Trigger Mike on the illustrious Lapeef Network. Go ahead and drop a like if you're just coming into the broadcast. Greetings and thanks to everybody coming through. This is going to be another hot one for you. I do got some notes, okay? This is going to be a good monologue. This is going to be a good show. All right, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I had an awesome one, man. Awesome. I don't know if y'all noticed about me, but I don't be out here in the streets no more. So when I say I had an awesome weekend, I could literally be in solitude. I can be in deep thought. I could have read a good article or, some stuff I'm interested in reading. I could have went and shot a little bit. Couldn't make it out with the gun club yesterday. I had a few private lessons to teach, but had an awesome weekend with my kids, man. Awesome weekend. We hit the jump park. Oh boy, they love the jump park. Then we hit the pool for the last day of the season yesterday. We have a bunch of community pools out here. Those of you in the Florida area, I know they build them out there. I know they build them in California and Washington State. In these master plan communities, boy, they built water parks. I want you to go look up a community called Riverstone in Sugarland, Texas. That was the first neighborhood me and my now wife, then girlfriend, went to just peruse through. I saw this a while ago. But they said that is a habit of most homeowners. If y'all didn't know, most homeowners and couples go look at houses together. I thought that was very interesting. I saw that in an article somewhere. I was reading a bunch of real estate articles and stuff like that. They said one of the most notable habits of future homeowners is that they learn the industry itself. They go to a bunch of open houses. They go see the new home consultants in these model homes in these new neighborhoods. And the first neighborhood, it could have been maybe 2014, 2015, maybe. We went and drove through Riverstone and Sugarland. Goodness gracious. Just look that up on the internet if you don't know. The stuff they were building out there, gee, that became a goal. It became an aspiration. That's what I want for some of y'all, man. Some of y'all are just thinking home ownership and getting your stuff together. You get intimidated by the number. Do not get intimidated all the time. Well, maybe today you should be intimidated by the number. You should not only be intimidated in how real estate has jumped up, you should be intimidated by these interest rates. So don't buy a house right now. Do not get one of those adjustable, that's what it's called, adjustable rate mortgages. Don't do it. That's what put us in the housing crisis last time. So when the rates do go down and the prices have stagnated on new homes, right? So it's probably better to get a new home because houses with some equity in it, they're going to be asking over because many of them are underwater already on their mortgages that they bought during COVID. All right. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's good to be with y'all. How y'all doing? Like, subscribe if you have not already. Shout out and salute to all the viewers nationwide and international. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I just hope y'all had a good weekend, man. It was a dope weekend for me. Did a lot of stuff with the kids. My wife cooked an awesome turkey roast. She kept talking about this turkey roast. I don't know. She enjoys cooking. She enjoys looking at recipes and stuff like that. So she'll get me super hype. She'll give me super hype for dinner on Sunday. Like, it's like, what the hell is a turkey roast? I just kept thinking about pot roast, but it was very similar. It was bomb too. Y'all know turkey gets dried out hella quick, but that wasn't dry. She cooked the hell out of that. So, food recommendation for the week if you have not tried it. There is a steak seasoning called Texas steak seasoning or Texas seasoning from HEB. All right, where all my Texans at? All right, not only in the H, but that company is actually from San Antonio. And yeah, all over Texas, but it's actually like the number one grocery chain in the nation. Go figure. Awesome to work for. I'm trying to get my brother-in-law to go work for them. He has I think his experiences in hospitality and food industry. I said, go work for HEB, man. Probably I know six high six-figure salary earners that work for the company of HEB. They don't even have degrees. Again, you don't need to have a degree to make some money. All right. I see you, man. I see you, Miles. Hold on. I see you, Miles. We got a quarterback. In case y'all didn't know, I don't have an outfit today. I can't wear the hat today because it wouldn't match. All right. But I don't have that outfit today. But we got ourselves a quarterback. CJ Stroud broke a record this weekend. Few records broken this weekend. Did y'all see that Dolphins score? Like, your defensive coordinator at that point just got to get fired. It don't even matter. Like, just fire him. I wouldn't even want to play again. All the captains on defense pissed. At this point, just fire your defensive coordinator because that was embarrassing. The craziest point, the craziest part of that is they even gave you mercy at the end of the game. Say, we're not even going to go for the record on y'all. Y'all been terrible enough. We're not even going to kick for the record. We just going to land it right here because y'all so terrible. We don't want to twist the knife any further. Damn. 70 points. I didn't even watch the game. And for some reason, Peyton Manning used to be my favorite quarterback. And y'all know I'm from Virginia, so we don't have any teams. So I've literally been a bandwagon person. Not really a bandwagon, but when you don't have any teams, you become a fan of players. And my favorite ever quarterback / receiving core was Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Indianapolis Colts. All right, so I used to just be a fan of players. When I did play video games and I did play Madden, I was busting y'all ass with the Colts. Nobody picked the Colts but me. Everybody's team was the Redskins, the Cowboys, of course, the Giants, San Francisco 49ers, the Raiders. People were just picking all these teams. I picked the Colts, and I picked the Edgerrin James Colts. Y'all don't even remember. Y'all don't even remember how far back that is. Some of y'all don't even know. Got Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. We was killing y'all. But yeah, so when Peyton Manning moved to the Broncos, long time ago, like that was like 2015, right? I had changed my favorite team on ESPN to the Broncos. So I just realized this weekend that I hadn't changed it. Or I'm sorry, I added the Texans to it, but never changed favorite team or whatever. When they make you choose your favorite scores and stuff that you want to see in your timeline of sorts. So it just popped that right up there on the screen. And so I was like, 70 points. Oh my God, you should have seen me look at that screen. 70 points? Damn. And in other news, but we got a quarterback, man. Miles, we got a quarterback. He broke the record. So he has the most yards without an interception, most yards, most touchdowns, no picks for any 3 starts for a career starter. Shout out to CJ Stroud, man. And this is kind of crazy. We like DeMeco Ryans. He's a former Houston Texan, but this makes that what's Lovie Smith? This makes that Lovie Smith firing so much more upsetting. Y'all know they fired Lovie Smith because he didn't want to lose he did not want to lose the last game of the season. It wasn't his way. Insiders know. He didn't want to lose the last game of the season so they could get the number 1 pick. He just played the game and they won. But now the players are saying, thank God we won. Thank God they won. Because they would have took Bryce Young at number 1. But we went number 2 and we got CJ Stroud. And it's not, and remember, for those of y'all that are into football, it's not just, for those of y'all that are into football, it is not just the throwing ability, the capability, it's their ability to command the locker room. It's their likability amongst their peers, offense and defense. They love that guy in the locker room. So I think we got ourselves an all-around quarterback, man. We'll see, though. I don't want to talk prematurely. Hey, no doubt. Anthony Richardson going to be a problem, too. Bryce Young, I'm gonna just give him all season, man. When you go number one, there's a lot of expectations and targets on your back. I'll give him. We'll figure out who he is next season. I think it's a lot less pressure for everybody. Number 2, 3, 4, like Richardson and Stroud, a lot less pressure. They can just play the game. They're with better franchises, so I wouldn't even want to come on the heels of a Cam Newton in Carolina, right? So who we got in the chat, man? Let's see who we got in the chat. MS Best, what's going on with you? Salute to you. My man Ricky Williams, what's going on, Uncle Rick? Shout out to you. Wait a minute, what's good with you? How you doing? Lauren Mack, what's good? My man Miles is in the chat. Lauren says HEB is her second favorite store. What is your first? Don't say Kroger, or unless your first isn't a grocery store. I don't think anything tops HEB. Go to HEB on a Saturday. You will eat in that mug for free. Homeless people don't even know. Or maybe I just don't live in that part of town anymore. Go to an HEB if you're hungry. They will feed you for free in there. All them damn stations they got cooking up all that food. My children love it. They'd rather go to HEB than the park on Saturday. My man Edward Gilbert says the Dolphins still suck. Chiefs Kingdom. I mean, Chiefs got it together. Had to shake off, what do they call it? Super Bowl rust or Super Bowl curse. They always lose the first game. People usually lose the first game of the season coming off the Super Bowl, but they look like they're rolling now. They got their swagger back. My man Frenchie K, what's going on? 7-5 in the building. I will be out in the 757 for homecoming, trying to get some stuff rolling for the Lapeef Network on campus too. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Hot fam, what's going on? My man Big Ant with the super chat. Thanks for Friday's show. Help my niece make her bug out bag. Hey man, I'm glad to see somebody took that advice. We're gonna try to have another show. I don't even want it to be all about the stuff that I can teach, because I'm mostly weapons. You got to have some real survival stuff. I'm mostly weapons and medical. All right, I can tell you what to put in your medical bag. That's why I showed the stuff that I have. You know what I mean? Weapons and medical, but there are people that can really give you some good other survival things that you need in your bug out bag to really make it through a tough time. Uncle Jeff was on here spitting. Marcus was on here spitting. And I hit up the people late because it was a one-day topic, but I was trying to get what's my man? Some of the other gun people in the area, not in the area, but the black gun community, I was trying to get them on. They told me I let them know a little too late. So we're going to try to get something else popping for y'all on the survival front. Give me 1 second. It's important. Somebody want to buy something from me. Money doesn't wait. Y'all give me 1 second. I can meet after 6 p.m. In fact, I can meet after 4, for real. I can meet and Katie. But how y'all doing? Don't leave. Just can't let the money wait. Kept that dude waiting long enough. All right. What's going on, Reese from Philly, my man? How you doing? Excellent dialogue. He said, pause, CJ bigger and more accurate. He has more. No, I can't even say he has more size. Pause. Goddamn. But yes, I like CJ as a pick. Just watching through the first 3 games. One of the things I like, man, we got to talk about black quarterbacks. I don't want to get too much into football. That's not what this is about. But I'm loving the pocket presence of the black quarterback. Amen. Because if we're just going to take off running, man, I mean, I'm from VA, so I'm a huge Michael Vick fan. Michael Vick is some point is going to get his flowers for transcending the quarterback position. I know some of y'all agree with that. He's going to get his flowers for transcending that position. Some of the things that he was able to do. But we can't just be known as good runners, because somebody going to take issue with it and take us out. You're one blown knee away. All right, Michael Vick was getting his man. Look, He was getting knocked around in there. And you could tell they were trying to make statements. They'll pile drive him to the ground, put all their weight on top of him. I remember them saying, cracked ribs. They were hurting his chest, doing all type of stuff, man. Slide. They don't even know how to slide. They want to hit like we still playing I don't even want to say that before I get the platform ding. But y'all know some of the football games we used to play. They just out there hitting people. So I want to see pocket presence from black quarterbacks. What's going on, advanced perception? Woo! The coach Dion played against definitely hate successful black men along with the rest of the good old boys. You know what? They do, but you have to realize, man, this is what I'm trying to tell people about the whole Dion situation, man. If y'all don't realize this is what has been happening to successful black men since the beginning of time, how do you expect them to behave? How would you behave at work looking directly at your replacement? How are you going to behave? You're going to extend your hand out to him like, good to meet you, man. Good to meet you, man. I know that you have the potential to be better than me at everything, but I'm going to shake your hand. No. How do you expect white men to behave with somebody that has the swagger of Deion Sanders? To someone that has the commanding presence, the attention of most black athletes in the country who won't want to go to their programs versus his. How do you expect white men to behave? I need y'all to think a little deeper on it. This is not racism. It's penis envy. It's penis envy. They're looking at their replacement. Deion Sanders is not just a person. He's a representation of things to come. Oh, shit. If all these NFL players start coming, oh, no. They're not focused on the NFL. They're focused on college football. Oh, no. They actually got NFL connections. They know the owners. Oh, no. How would you feel looking right at your replacement? Expect nothing different from them. The hate will be constant. Start developing your ability to ignore it and perform anyway. That's the one thing I want to teach y'all in this world, man. I got colleagues at my job. I've been getting hated on by people of all other races. I'm Nigerian. They see us coming. They like, oh, shit. Here come these smart motherfuckers. It's over for me. How do you expect them to behave? Staring right in the face of their replacement. It don't even matter that his team won. It was a bit of an ass whooping, let me not lie. But I expected that. I thought a lot of y'all were a little too hyped for Deion. Go look at that schedule again for those of y'all, especially ladies. For some women don't even watch football, talking all this hope mess. He's going to go undefeated. I said, look at that goddamn schedule. Don't play yourself. The offensive line has been exposed since game 2, for real. You gave them maybe they got the jitters in game 1. By game 3, Shador had been sacked 15 times. That O-line is a liability. You need to work on it. The defense is, if it wasn't for Shiloh and that pick 6 and them making some good tackles and then Travis Hunter not getting the ball thrown in his direction, we would have been called cap on the defense. But now that Travis Hunter's out, now you can call cap on that defense too. We knew this was going to happen. He got a developing program. They're going to do great things. They already won more games than they did last year, but don't get ahead of yourself. Oregon was going to smack them no matter what. They could have had Travis. They were going to smack them. Bo Nix they lying to y'all. Bo Nix is not 23. Bo Nix is 33. That man been in college so long. He's so used to that shit. He's so used to the game speed. You weren't going to beat them. You see their receivers? Come on, man. You weren't going to beat them. My man, Advanced Perception. Super Bowl hangover. That's correct. What's going on, Trina? Welcome. RP Tipsy Nomad. How you doing, man? Hot fam. What's up? Let me get to my man, John the Baptist. My man, John the Baptist says, Trigger, you are killing the game with your YouTube shorts. Appreciate that. I haven't made one in a while, but maybe I should get back to doing that. Thanks for giving me the motivation, man. I'm loving the black man support. Y'all giving me the motivation to do what I do. Miss Jill says, I didn't see Deion's press conference. but I am sure he knew how to handle the haters in the crowd. We knew this part of the schedule was going to be tough even before Travis was out. That is a fact. That is a fact. But to be quite honest, this is par for the course, ladies and gentlemen. This is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen. Tone down, everybody, myself included. We have all been a little smelling ourselves. We still calling it that. We've all smelled ourselves a little bit. Now we can get back to the game of football. Amen. All right. Now they're mocking you with that watch shit. All right. They got your number. They know what time it is. So now you've been mocked. You've been shown that you're human. Let's get back to the game of football. Let's get back to the game of football. Damn. All right. Let's get to today's topic. Man, I love shooting the shit with y'all. Some of my favorite stuff to do. I love playing the game. I'm playing the game of football. I love shooting the shit with y'all. Some of my favorite stuff to do. If you're just coming in, we got 103 people and only 42 likes. Get those likes up to 75 right now. If you're just joining the Trigger Mike Show, please hit the like button right now. Right now, hit the like button. The likes are free. And as I always tell you to do every show, if you can help me out, I'm doing it right now. Hit that share button. Hit the share button right now. And I'm about to monologue on this one because I got some things to say. Live right now, we're going to talk about the cost of a broken community. So I don't know if y'all know, but I do a lot of people watching. As you can see, I do a lot of observation. I read stuff, I read articles, I take in the perspective of my peers, which is always great. But I do a lot of observation in the community, and not just in the Black community. I don't even live in, what you would call a predominantly Black community. I live in a very mixed community, and I get to see what happens when people keep their families together. And I'm very interested in that particular topic of family, which is then extended out to what we like to call community, because you know how I define community. It is not a group of individuals as defined on Google. It is actually a group of families. Don't bring me the textbook definition. I won't want to hear anything of it. I believe a community is a group of families. And I'm going to stay married to that definition for the entirety of my life because that's what it means to me. So some of the things that I was observing this weekend prompted me to create this title, The Cost of a Broken Community. What exactly is the cost of a broken community? I don't believe that many people understand what they've done, given the decisions that they've made with their life, given the decisions that they've made for their children. I don't think y'all know exactly how bad we fucked this one up. If you tracking with me and understand what I'm saying or understand the stuff I'm about to be on, give me a 1 in the chat. I don't think we as a community, Black men and Black women, I don't think you understand just how bad we fucked this one up. Y'all fucked up real bad with this one. Millennials, and then fuck that. Gen X, millennials, on to Gen Z. Y'all don't know how bad we have messed this one up. The choices that you made have been detrimental to the progress and viability of your own community. And I am not talking about criminals. I'm not talking about just criminals. I'm not talking about stick-up kids and single mother. I'm not just talking about them. I'm talking about very well put together people and your selfishness. We really fucked this one up. So I did some people watching this weekend, and I'm going to let you know just how bad things have gotten. The first thing we're going to talk about today, the cost of a broken community. What does it cost you? Where do these things stem from? How do you get to the place that the Black community is in today? And some of the things that we suffer from that you may know about. What has it cost you? Where do these things stem from? Here's number one. Let's talk about it. Put a one in the chat if you have suffered, if you're a single mother or a single father. If you're a man who came from a single mother or even a two-parent household and you suffer from a lack of support, put a one in the chat. I'll wait. I don't think y'all understand just how much this weighs. Anybody who is black that just gets it, you feel it in your spirit. You know it by watching other ethnic groups and how they do for each other. Have you suffered from a lack of support? I'm going to play a video to start this one off to give you a bit of context about why we're talking about this right now. I'm going to play a video. Stay tuned for this.
To me, how millennials, when it's time for them to live their life, if they want to go out for a weekend, hey mama, can you watch my baby for me? A lot of y'all in the Gen X generation, you won't even look out for them. And the sad part to me, Gen X will be like, oh, I don't got time for all of that. I done raised y'all. I want to live my life.
Hey, baby girl, you sound a little upset. Let me help you out a little bit. First of all, we've paid our dues, okay? These your fucking kids. You watch them. If you wanted me to be the type of grandmother to your kids that your grandmother was to y'all, then you probably should have consulted me and waited a little bit longer till it was time for me to actually sit down and not do what the fuck I want to do before you started having them. See, I chose when I had you, and then you chose this thug life for me. I didn't choose it. Okay, let's not forget that. Second of all, why won't you tell people that your kids is bad as hell? And that's why not only me, but won't nobody watch them. You so busy out here trying to be a city girl with your coochie pink and your booty hole brown that you ain't teaching these kids no manners and no respect. That's why won't nobody watch your kids. Not a grandmama, a grandpa, an uncle, or auntie. This sound real personal, baby girl. I think you need to go ahead and put your time in like we did. I gotta go. I got a plane to catch with the other grandmothers. We out.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Now, don't run with it. Don't run with the other narratives. I know they were going at each other a little hard on that one, but y'all see what we talking about? It's a war. It's a war. All we got is excuses for why we won't do for our people. Don't get caught up in the individual war that they were having with each other on why somebody's not doing for one or one is not doing for the other. Don't get caught up in that. Do you see this? Lack of support. This is an interesting thing. Where did I get this particular topic from? I want to talk about most notably the admiration that I have for two different ethnic groups that are represented here in America. For some reason in my area, my immediate area, in the West Houston area, suburban area, the Indians, meaning the Middle Eastern Indians, have created a colony of sorts. And I do mean a colony. There are so many of them living in this one zip code where I'm at that they have their own store. They got their own grocery store. It's small. They got restaurants on damn near every corner. Okay? For their own people. They have learning centers, what? Not like Kumon Math and Mathnasium. They got their own Taekwondo studios taught by their teachers that look like them. Nothing but kudos for that ethnic group, man. All I see every time I take my kids to a certain park, they got their own section. I told y'all about that in my neighborhood. That most of the people, like literally 90-something% of the people in that section of the neighborhood that bought homes in that section that has its own name are Indian. So they got one of the best parks in the entire community. So when I take my kids over there, it's about a 5-minute drive from my side of the neighborhood. All you see is grandma walking, mom walking with the kids. Dad might be walking, talking to one of his peers, one of his neighbors that live close by. They're killing the game out here, man. They are supported. These children left. Now, I took my son to Taekwondo on Thursday. These children left, a group of them, Indian kids. Most of the people in that Taekwondo studio are Indian kids. They left in their Taekwondo uniform and went 2 doors down, like in the same shopping center, to go to their learning support center together. So they're doing disciplinary activities together. They're going to go do after school extracurricular, extra academic activities together. They're leaving together. They probably ate dinner together. There is nothing but support in that community. You don't have to ask anybody to watch your kids. It's all baked into the cake. Let me give y'all another inkling into what's going on here. That lack of support leads to a failure to build wealth. And there's one point I want to make on this in particular. Y'all have heard me say this many times on this program. And I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I want to make sure I'm 100% clear on this. It is not about how much money you make. The Black community is obsessed with money. But your families and homes are broken. It is not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Those Indians that I was just referencing, they don't pay for childcare. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'm easily, since they've been born, easily in 50, 60,000 paid in childcare for those two. That's a down payment on a damn house. They don't pay people to watch their kids. You see what I'm talking about now? It's not about how much money you make, or not just about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. They keep that damn money in-house. They're not paying out for a babysitter every time they want to go out with their friends. We do, though. You heard? Grandma don't want to watch the kids in this community for most Black women. Grandma don't want to watch the kids. She had no support, so she don't want to be your support. So now you got to pay somebody. You have a failure to build wealth because we don't keep our money. You have to pay for everything in the Black community. That's why you always broke. You don't keep your money in-house. You have no support. I have watched, either by myself or with my wife, I have watched from her side, her sister's kids, countless times. I've never been paid once. It is my duty to extend that service. Hey, Mike, what are you doing? Nothing. Can you watch it? Of course I can, because I'm doing nothing. That is that's what I can extend to you as a favor. They teenagers, they watch themselves. It is my duty to do that for my family and my extended family. Why don't y'all see it the same way? It's your duty to provide that to your family. And there is something to be gained from it if you don't know. My children gain something from seeing their cousins. Their cousins gain something for impressing good behaviors and seeing their cousins do their homework and follow instructions. They gain something from that. They're not supposed to just see them at holidays or birthdays. They're supposed to grow up with these people. Sorry about that. My daughter's home from school today. Teacher work day. First off, let me just say something about Texas. I don't know who the hell y'all think we are, that you're just going to infuse a bunch of professional development days in the middle of the week. Do that shit on Saturday. Y'all do this way too much. She got one today, her brother on Friday. Who the hell do you think I am? And because I work from home, I'm it. Who the hell do y'all think I am? That I want to be here working, doing reports and shit with my daughter, trying to weasel whatever she can out of me. She's not even supposed to be here. But we have a failure to build wealth. Let me tell you another one that really strikes me. And this one is more geared toward the black boys. The cost of a broken community, one of the biggest costs is that it fosters a culture of anti-intellectualism. If you just this is some real stuff. This is some real stuff that I want you ladies to understand, because no matter how much you try to fake it, you don't suffer from this the same way. If you are a black man who ever got picked on for being smart, put a 1 in the chat. I'll wait. If you ever got picked on for trying to do your homework, put a 1 in the chat. Picked on for getting a job that might require you to use any type of intellect. You got called white for using proper English. Put a 1 in the chat. I want y'all to see something. I'm not prompted. This is not premeditated. You see all these goddamn ones? The cost, one of the greatest costs of a broken community, is that it fosters a culture of anti-intellectualism. If you want to know what's wrong with black boys, if you want to know why the average black boy has a 4th grade reading level, one of the reasons is because he sees no benefit in getting smart or being smart. He gets picked on for being smart. He gets picked on for reading books. There are so many people doing bad shit that when they see you reading a book and it makes them feel stupid, they'll pick on you rather than pick up a damn book too. Look no further if you want to know what's really wrong with black boys, why reading isn't cool. Look at the community first. Look at the upbringing. Look at the locality. Look at the environment. It does not foster a good environment for boys where intellect is praised, where A's and B's are praised, where moms look at homework and dads have time or even access to help with that homework. Who's asking these kids for their folders when they get home? Mom's too tired. Grandma don't even want to see them. Dad's not allowed at the house. So all of those requests for meetings from the teacher go unanswered. We have fostered an entire culture of anti-intellect. Your favorite people use bad English when they talk. Your favorite people cannot conjugate a verb. The people we prop up in this community to the mainstream media are the most anti-intellectual idiots I've ever seen in human form. Who the hell gave Sexy Red a microphone? Who gave her evil devil twin, Sukiana, a microphone? Who did it? Let me know so I can sign a petition. Who gave these people a microphone and let them talk? Nothing but anti-intellect. And this is the worst part about it, y'all. They're doing this shit on purpose. They know exactly what they're doing. All right, moving on. One of the costs of a broken community is that we now have immature adults. We talk about the men a lot on these panels. When we look at the misandry from Cynthia G, when we look at the misandry in Princella the Queenmaker's posts and not posts, her videos and streams, I find it very funny how a lot of women who grew up with and even raised some of these black boys you are now calling immature, stop acting like you don't know where the fuck they came from. Stop acting like you don't know who the fuck raised these immature ass adults. You raised them. A broken family structure breeds immature adults. How? I'm not blaming the women solely. I'm not blaming the men solely. I am blaming your choices. If you are somebody that thought it was an okay idea to keep the other parent out of the loop, you now see the results of it in your romantic relationships. You now see the results of it in what your child has not achieved and the way they walk this earth and their failure to understand interpersonal relationships and how to function within them. Do not look at them and their behavior. Look at your goddamn self. My children are a product of me. If they are out here failing at interpersonal relationships, it's my fault. Y'all don't hear that a lot in these YouTube streets, huh? My kids came from me. They are my biological property. They live under my roof and are under my guidance and leadership. Everything they are, the fortitude, the good English, and their mother too. We'll give the good English to their mom. Their intellect, their ability to be mature and seek out mature experiences with others, to seek out mature work relationships, to seek out mature love and romantic relationships. All of that will be because of the example I provided for them. It's my fault if they fuck that up. Stop looking at all these other people. Look at the men. They're so immature. Where did they come from? What was their upbringing? Who modeled a good example for them? The cost of a broken community. One of them is immature adults. You have nothing but spitting images of the parents that couldn't get it right. Don't disassociate yourself from your kids now. Don't disassociate yourself from your product now. These are your products. This is your property out here cutting up on these streets. Might as well claim them. All right, what else we got? This one is pretty big. This one is weighing heavy on my spirit. I have watched probably in the last month what can come from the unprotected mind. How people's minds have been infiltrated with bullshit and how malleable we actually are. And what I mean by unprotected minds is if you don't create a stable home environment for your children in where your word is law, where your example is law, these kids' minds are susceptible or more susceptible to all the demonic shit out there that's waiting for them. Each and every day, You have to counteract something your child has learned. This is why I say you have to keep the family together. Remove two parents is barely enough. Remove one of them. You have fractured. You have fractured your ability to protect the mind of your child and or children. Each and every day my babies come home from school, or when their mama gets home, she picks their folder out because I gotta wait. I don't want to yell on my own. I gotta wait for her to be here to be the buffer. She picks folders out of backpacks. I don't even need to be there for that part. She knows very well, and is way better than me, as a matter of fact, on doing the positive reinforcement necessary each and every day for my children when they're doing what is expected of them. I don't praise my children for doing what is expected. I praise them for going above and beyond, and I praise them for large groups of days, maybe. At the end of a good month, I basically put it this way. I praise them for milestones. That is a American staple, to praise your kids for mediocrity. They will do what is expected of them at all times. I don't need to praise them for that. But I praise them for milestones. And their mom gives them individual praise as necessary for whatever it is that they're doing. But when they've done something wrong, if that block of day says not following directions at the end of day, I'm going in. It is imperative for parents, especially fathers. You represent and model discipline to your children on the spot. I get those blocks of days. I get to help my children reach those milestones because I am there to correct behavior on the spot. If it happened at 3 o'clock, my hand is in their face at 8 p.m. You have to protect the mind of your children and what you are allowing to seep in. If you are inefficient and you don't correct that behavior, it starts to become commonplace. Well, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Let me just keep cutting up. Shoot. Maybe it's the only way they get attention at school. Maybe it's what they think they have to do to impress another group that's unsavory. You got to be there to protect them. Don't they say this young age? Some of y'all are psychologists or very well versed in the worlds of mental health and psychological health, all of that. What do they say the ages in which kids are most malleable? Their brains are most malleable, meaning that if they are a certain way in this age, is pretty much how they're going to be for the rest of their life. Y'all know, help me out. What's the age? Help me out. What are the ages? They say you better focus on your kids at this age, this particular age block, because that's the way they're going to be forever or most of their lives. Wait a minute, it says 3 to 7. I think I've heard something of the sort. I've heard like 2 to 6, 2 to 5. Wait a minute, it says 3 to 7. I believe that. I'm going hard now, so I don't got to go this hard in the future. It got to be before 10. It got to be before 10. I can now tell you at this age, having known so many people, somebody is a certain way at 8, or I'm sorry, by 10, they're gone. That's the way they are. I know it's bad, but that's the way they are. Lauren Mack said 0 to 3. I believe that. 4 to 7. Okay, we tracking around the same area. 5. All right, we tracking around the same area. I'm sorry, but you're likely going to know if you have a promiscuous boy or girl on your hands by 10 years old. I saw that working in mental health. We have so much hope, but we need to get realistic so we can start helping these children earlier. I told y'all they've already offered me. Somebody's already offered me an opportunity to go through some executive leadership program for Houston Public Schools. And I said, don't do me like you do the rest of the black men out here. No, don't put me in no high school. I don't want the high school. I want to make change. Put me in the elementary school. Well, I can't promise that. Yeah, because you want to put me in the high school. I know I'm not fucking Joe Clark. I'm more likely to fucking, I'm not gonna punch him, but I'm more likely to leg sweep one of those kids than help him. Put me in the elementary school. Oh, I'll get them right. I will. You want to see 100% college admissions? You want to see 90 percentile pass rates on state standardized testing? Put me in the elementary school. For real, for real. My man Scam says he worked for HISD. Oh, damn. Yeah, the state, HISD is, the word's already out, bro. The state took over. The state took that school district over. So if they're calling people from higher education on down, they think they about to get me to go fix a high school. I know what's up. I know what's up. These kids are well into their behavior. In fifth grade, they're well into to over sexualized behavior, oppositional defiant. They've already been diagnosed with some of these behavioral disorders. But you think I'm gonna change somebody in high school? Nah. Put me at the elementary school. Put me at the elementary school, and I'll make some change. Call in a bit. All right. I see you in the back, John. Let me get through this monologue. Lastly, what is one of the costs of a broken community? I believe that it causes identity crises. Now, when I mean identity crises, as far as the Black community is concerned, I do mean that the Black community does not have an identity. And don't get that misconstrued as if I'm saying that the Black community does not have a culture, because it absolutely does. Despite all of the dysfunction, Black people have been able to keep a lot of their customs intact. All right. So, shoot, look no further than Texas and Louisiana. But really, I'm talking about Louisiana because most of the people from Louisiana live in Texas now, obviously. If y'all didn't know that, now you know. After Katrina, boy, this shit might as well not call this Houston, Texas. This is Louisiana, Texas, boy. So the food, the heavily seasoned food, you have customs, of course, that are undeniably Black. But the reason why I say the Black community has an identity crisis is because many people are struggling to identify themselves outside of the negative identity that has been made for them by other ethnic groups. If you have ever experienced this, put a 1 in the chat. If you are trying to identify yourself outside of what people already think about you as a Black man, especially, but for Black people in general, you are going to have a hard time doing that. You are going to have a very hard time establishing your identity outside of people's preconceived notions about you. We've done this already on this show before, but I want to see if anybody's opinion has changed. What do you think, in the chat, give me an example of the identity that people have made for you if you're Black. Black man, Black woman, doesn't matter. When you walk into a room, let's say you're somewhere in the nicer part of the city, it's mixed, right? People of all types, but there are no other Black people in the room. And then you walk in that room and you just see everybody's head snap. In that moment, I want you to freeze on that moment right there. If you could put a caption bubble over everybody in that room of different race than you, what do you think these people think about you at first glance because you're Black? Go ahead and put it in the chat. What do people think about black men and women at first glance? Simply because you are black. Mr. He said gangster, cheater, intimidating. John said terrible question. Uneducated. Hey, Scan, we agree right there. I think they're black too. Ooh, Lauren Mack. They think we gotta be lost. I've had that feeling. I've had that feeling. Absolutely, I've had that feeling. That we're violent. Is this a criminal or an unsavory person? Failed rapper. I ain't gonna lie, that one might be true. Most of us have tried it. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I tried a black career. I've tried to spit a little something too. Uneducated. Okay, so we're tracking on this. We're tracking on this one. Richarda says bad attitude. I see that too. In fact, let me see something that I've seen and why I'm so afraid for black women in general on the bad attitude thing, because I've seen this be taken so far that because it is assumed that so many black women have a bad attitude, people take things to a certain level. And this is even funny. In like HEB, if you are actually trying to report something, meaning, or not even, let's not even say HEB, if something is actually wrong with your food at a restaurant, you get that kind of eye roll. Oh, I've seen that shit happen so many times. That kind of eye roll, like, oh shit, here she go again. She gonna threaten to take my job. I have seen people lose their patience far before it was necessary, simply because they have established our identity before they came to the table. They thought they knew who we were before they got to the table and before they received the complaint. So that one I wholeheartedly agree with. I've seen that. Bad credit. Do black people actually have bad credit? I don't know. But yes, people do think we have bad credit. I'm a little low right now. I'm in the 7s. I'm in the I'm at like 710. Forgot what I did that took it that low. Oh, Navy Federal. I swiped something on my credit card and didn't pay it for like 2 months. Oh yeah, if you spend more than 30% of your credit, it'll drop it. I was at like 760. And then I said, oh, what I do is I swipe so I can get the points. But I did the automatic minimum payment and didn't pay it back. So I just paid it last week. Give me my damn 50 points back. 760 look good on me. Shout out to everybody in the 8s, but I hope y'all know that if your credit score is like 720 or 725, they're going to give you the best rate they got in anything. The 8s really don't matter. It's just like some kind of, it's not a special designation of any kind. 725, you're getting the best rate everybody got. But all right. What's up, Scam? What's going on, John the Baptist?
What's going on?
What are y'all opening thoughts on today's topic, man? The cost of a broken community. You got the floor, Scam. Go ahead.
It's interesting that you say first thing you did for 10 minutes, all the blacks is dusting because they're black. If we was like the Indians, if we was like the Arabs. So you're doing the very thing that you were just complaining about.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. What I did was highlight. So think about it this way. What am I supposed to use as an example?
Individuals.
What if those individuals are not black? So put it to you this way. It would probably sound, so the reason I don't do that, one, is because I have a larger following than just black people. I admire Mexicans too for different reasons. But I have to go with the people who are doing it the best at the time. Everything that I'm talking about used to be done by black people, the best. And it's something that we got to get back to. I could use my family, but that would be a little self-serving. So that's why I do it.
Well, actually, especially you were talking about positive reinforcement, which they keep attacking me. The beat the kids mafia keeps coming for me for saying something positive, which they're allergic to. Where were you at then when I was talking about positive reinforcement? Where was you at? But like you were saying, you could use yourself, you could use your example. You're talking about there's no examples out there. You grew up something like how I grew up, and it was a community, and it was pretty black, and it was pretty strong, and still is. Brick home still standing. Why don't you talk about it?
We talk about it from time to time, but it's
And without it being
it's a relic. It's a relic of a. Hold on. It's a relic of a time long past. It's not here anymore.
Standing, ain't they?
No. Most of them aren't. Most of them aren't.
Oh, well, I'll let it be then.
Well, but that's just the truth. So, Scam, that's just the truth. So, think about it this way.
But if it's
I had to go do some research maybe a few months ago. When they say 26% of black women are married, under the age of 60, it's actually 9%. That means 1 in like 10 black women under the age of 60 is actually married. Because when we talk about homes and those type of neighborhoods, they're families. There are people together living in the house, raising their children. The large majority of the black community with children is not doing that very thing. So I cannot use them as an example at this time, as much as it pains me.
No, I'm saying is at the end of the day, people, they're going to be black. They're going to be black today. They're going to be black tomorrow. We hear all the time, whoa, black people's failing because they're black. Black people this because of black. The women's, the men's. Can I give one positive example? Better yet, 2. And it not be a celebrity or somebody capping on YouTube.
I don't know, man. I like the.
I don't know my name. I'm a broke dustosaurus. I'm overweight, broke. Rob liquor stores Tuesday, Friday, so I can't be that example. I'm just saying.
Well, I think for me, you can definitely do it. For me, it'll be a little self-serving. But give me 1 second. Let me get these super chats real quick, and then we'll get over to John and we'll chop it up after that. My man, Advanced Perception $5 says there was an Indian dude out Cali that basically bought a whole town. They were thriving, but he lost it all because he fucked up his taxes. Damn. My man Fatty, for the 19th time, became a member of the Green Gang. Fatty been joining the Green Gang for like 6 months. We're happy to have you, my man. My man Fatty. Willie Walker. Blessings, brother Trigger Mike. Appreciate the love. Y'all check them out on the Single by Choices channel. They be killing it. They go live just about every other day at this point. Maybe every night. My man Greatness to Work says they automatically think I'm a baby daddy when all my kids are by my wife of 19 years. Listen, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But let me tell you, anytime I'm with my kids and I have my kids, I have my kids more than my wife does, simply because I work from home. I pick them up. If she asks me to go pick up a rotisserie chicken with that Italian herb from HEB, is my favorite. If she asks me to go pick up one of those, everybody be looking at my ring finger. They'll see my kids and they'll look at the daddy, then they'll do a double take. Sometimes I really do wonder if that's what they're wondering. I wonder if these are his kids, or because first off, it's not supposed to be so damn shocking. But we know for obvious reasons why they think what they think. But if you're just tuning in, welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Please hit that like button. We are talking about the cost of a broken community. My man John the Baptist, what do you got on the topic, bro?
Hey, Trigger, how you doing today?
I'm chilling, bro.
What's up, Scam? How you doing today, Scam? I know you trolling as usual, but
I was like, he's trolling as usual, you know.
Hey, what I got on the top today, man, is if I really care, if I really believe there was a black community, if I really thought it would be one, which I don't think there is one, it would be I wouldn't have much to say for it. I really wouldn't. And the reason why I feel that way is because I think Well, I'll say this: if there's any chance of being a black community, I don't think there's any chance it will start with the black man. But I do believe in the patriarchy, right? So therefore, everything starts with the male, the man, and so whatever the man chooses, that's what the community will be. And so therefore, I think it limits a man or black. You want to go black? It limits us to say the black race as our community. Now, what you're doing is you assume that everyone in your race has the same values and the same beliefs and the same morals and the same standards you do. And we know that's not true. I know some individuals of different races who I have shared more values with than I do some people, more morals, values, and standards than I do that of my same race of other races.
Yep.
So why would I limit myself to somebody that's supposed to be share the same skin, but we don't share the same values? Why would I trust them to my kids? If you believe in the baby daddy, the baby mom hookup culture, why would I trust you to my kids because we share the same color?
Hey, John, I got a question.
So therefore, I believe. Hold on, let me say this, and you can jump in. Still. So
Go
I
ahead.
believe in it that you do what you pick the quality and trait that you wanted that for your family. You lead your family that direction, and who's ever in your community that share those values, that's your community. Quit limiting yourself to race. Go ahead, Sam.
When you say patriarchy, because I didn't know what patriarchy was till I looked up the definition like we maybe a couple months ago.
Hmm.
Do you believe in male leadership by default or male leadership by choice?
I'm not sure what you mean. Do I believe in male leadership by
Yeah.
default or by choice?
Patriarchy means because you're a man,
Me-
you're the leader. Women don't have an option. But
Hold on, Ekene. I can't. Hold on, Ekene. Hold on, Ekene. I gotta get scared. What you call it,
yeah,
Sam?
patriarchy meaning because you're a man, meaning men can do this, women can't. They don't necessarily have a choice. That'd be patriarchy. Matriarchy pretty much women rule and men don't have a choice.
Ekene, what are you doing? Stop.
So do you want it to
Oh,
be
sorry.
have the option to select to be under the leadership of a man, or it not even be an option?
No. Okay. So if a woman chooses to be with a man, then she's participating in that system. If she chooses to be in a system outside of patriarchy, then she made her choice. But I believe every society, I believe the world was designed to be patriarchal.
Meaning women don't have the choice.
If that's what that
It
means, then
is
that's what that
it,
means.
it, it is a patriarchy by default, and yes, women don't have the choice.
You know what? No, hold
I
on,
just
y'all.
I'm
'Cause-
not a fan of
hold
patriarchy.
on, hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all.
I'm a fan of choice.
It's on this message of patriarchy. We got to stop because what women have essentially done is made it a bad term. Women do not
Correct.
thrive under any other form. Women do not thrive in a matriarchal or gynocratic society. They don't. It's a joke. It's a laugh because essentially what you're asking, what the black community has proven with the last, let's say, 6 decades, is that if you care about your community, you will want to live under patriarchy. Black let me ask y'all. No, not forget black women. Do women in general look out for the needs of men? Do women look out for men?
In
I
general,
disagree.
no.
In
In
general,
general,
no.
no.
Women do not care about creating opportunities or providing for men. They don't.
That's not
So
true.
if they don't, they do not.
They
Listen,
pick
Stan,
men over women. Women pick men over women.
what do you mean by that? Please explain.
The narrative is that all the women's always pick the women's, but they keep hiring more women's and women. That is not true. They pick
That is
men
No, that's not.
absolutely true. That is
That's
they
not what
pick
he's talking
absolutely
about.
men over women.
That's not what he's talking about, Skim. I'm not sure. That's not what he's talking about. What Trigger
Go
is
ahead.
saying is,
okay.
in any
Okay.
society,
Yeah, okay.
go ahead, Trigger.
No, go ahead. You got it.
What the point that Trigger is making is, if you look at any culture, any society, men are creating opportunity for other men and for women and for kids and for children.
Yes.
You would never go. You can't go to any other culture and find the inverse, where women are creating opportunities for men, women, and kids. You will never find it in the inverse.
Well, John,
If you
even
and
America
if
is
you
a
can't
male-led.
hold on
It's a
before
male-led
you start
society,
trolling.
even in
Hold on,
America.
hold on, hold on,
Go ahead.
Scam, before you start trolling. I want you to show me the inverse when this happens before you start trolling.
No, John.
Before you troll,
No,
show me
I'm
the
trolling.
inverse.
America, everything is still run by men. The same systems, people, all the medical system, all the education, the business is run by men. The world, everything is still run by men. There's not women running, even the court system they complain about is run by men.
But you're still trolling those scams. I need for you.
No,
I need for you to be
men,
serious in the conversation.
Hold on.
Let me say
those
something real
systems are
quick,
run by
guys.
men.
There is something I want to counter what Scam just said. Scam. Let me say this to you real quick. You and I and all of us here have heard women say all the time, "Oh, my company is team of all women," and they're proud of it. They say without any government sanction. If a male company comes out tomorrow and say my company is all male, he's gonna get OSHA right at his front door.
He's gonna get tax breaks removed from his company.
From his company.
So people's random opinions that actually
No, it doesn't apply to OSHA.
No,
OSHA doesn't give a damn about your opinion.
It's not an opinion; it's a pattern. So hold on, Ikene. This is what I want. This is what I want to. This is what I want to say, because we're not saying something negative. I'm not talking about women and their tendency. I'm talking about their natural pattern. This is a pattern. That is how you prove what we're saying. Did you not understand that we are touting in the same instance that we are touting how many black women have risen to education? Black boys that came from those same exact homes have a 4th grade reading level. That is because women do not prioritize the competence of boys over girls. They do not prioritize the competency of their son and daughter. It's just their daughter. How the hell did a college graduate come from the same house as a boy with a 4th grade reading level? It's because women do not prioritize opportunity or competence of boys and men. Only men have done it since the beginning of history. If you want equality, okay, put it this way. Equality is only safe in the hands of men. It is absolutely not safe in the hands of women.
That's capital bullshit.
Me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Hold on. Not Scam, you cannot do this, man. You have to. Okay, if you're gonna
so it requires that I agree with everything everybody says because you're men, right? That's the requirement.
No. I'm only asking. I'm only asking. Hold on. One detail. I'm only asking Scam to be genuine to the conversation. If you have an inverse, if you have an example of the opposite happening, then tell us.
I just gave you one. Y'all said no. Men,
bro, okay, I'm tired.
Men are at the top of every decision in America. The banking, the education, fitness, everything. There are men at the top. And y'all said, no, somehow it's single moms.
Right.
What are you
talking
about?
That. So Trigger Mike, this is what I like to say. I love your show, Trigger. But sometimes just like we don't need certain women at the table to talk. We don't need certain men at the table to talk no more. And I'm getting tired of this shit, bro.
See what I'm talking about?
Because we have good conversations, and then niggas always just trolling and just don't want to be a grown man. You get what I'm saying? Now, if it hit somebody, it hit. But when I hear Trigger Mike and shit, like, I be wanting to hear like men actually talk up with.
Right, you want to hear what you want to hear.
Not somebody that's coming up here always scamming and always talking about Dusty and just always derailing the conversation. Sometimes you just gotta be a grown man and just shut up sometimes. And everybody know that. It's a shame that when men get on the panel with you, they say, "Goddamn, Scam, can you stop trolling? I know you trolling. Can you stop trolling?" Like, goddamn, bro. But then you talk about the women, and why we don't have and then why we don't have leaders and shit like that, because we got grown ass men that just don't never know how to take shit the right way. Don't know how to take shit actually. Like, this shit is crazy.
We don't have leaders, but you're saying the women are leading.
But I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm just gonna leave it like that, Trigger. You know I love your show, but sometimes some people just can't get on this hoe to talk, fam. You know what I'm saying? Some people just can't do it, Trigger, because every time it's always some derailing shit. Somebody want to hear somebody say something actually right, and it ain't even got to be you, fam. It's other people, and there's other places that you can go, and there's other places that you can go on this YouTube space to do that shit. But right here
I
on
want to
Trigger
know the
Mike,
names
bro,
of
we
the
not
women who
trying to
are
hear
running
that
the
shit you
world.
talking
I
about.
want
So I'm gonna
names.
get back to working. I'm gonna get back to work and doing what I do as a young man. But appreciate it, Trigger Mike. But sometimes everybody can't come on
Let me
this hoe.
guess. Women's run your
Everybody
job.
can't go.
It's
You get
all
what I'm
women,
saying,
right?
Trigger? So you go ahead
Yeah,
and
No
do your
one
I
thing.
got
said,
you.
You know, ain't nobody
but
saying nothing about
Skim,
no
but
woman. The
Skim.
only person that's up here with a
John,
vagina
we're the
is the
women
nigga
who
that's
are running the
talking on it.
world.
You get
What's
what
your
I'm saying?
name?
So let me go ahead and just let you do what you do, bro. But you know what you be doing, fam. You
Who
lame,
runs?
bro. You too grown for that shit. You lame. You a
Trigger
grown
Mike,
ass
who
man,
runs the
and
healthcare
you
industry?
act like a 20-year-old kid,
Who
fam.
runs the
Like
court system,
shit
Trigger Mike?
crazy, bro. But
Who
anyways,
runs
I
the
land.
Actually, there are more women judges than there are men judges.
Right, but this
who
nigga
runs
say
the
the
system?
stupidest shit. Don't even
Hold
have
on, hold on,
no.
hold on,
Just
hold on,
he
hold on, hold on, hold
dumb,
on,
bro.
D-Town. He
But
gonna
all
run
right,
that
now
Hold
y'all
on,
question.
go. I'm
Answer
Sean.
the
about to get
question.
What
back
we
to
doing?
it, but that's all I want to say,
There are
Trigger.
more
That's
women
all I
All right,
judges.
want to
one
say.
There are
mic,
more
one mic.
women judges. There are more women judges than there are male judges.
Who runs those judges? Men or women? Who runs the courts?
Well, they are voted by the citizens most of the time.
This for really what we're doing?
I'm just asking the question. I'm being genuine. Unlike you, I'm being
So
genuine.
women's
I'm asking the
okay.
question.
So women's run everything in the world. This is what we're really doing.
No. You said who run the
What
court
about
system. I'm asking
women's?
the question. You asked the question who run the court. I said there are more women judges than there are male judges.
Who runs those judges?
That's not even that's not even the question is not even in context of what we're
Who
saying.
runs the healthcare system,
So
Trigger Mike?
so put
90% women, but who runs it?
but but that's the point. That's the actual point. We don't prioritize in this community in general. My ultimate point, because I don't want to get derailed here. My point is that,
You also
especially
don't
about
want to answer the question.
patriarchy, no, our point about the patriarchal system is that when men run things and are put at the head of the family and prioritize family as such, everybody gets an opportunity. That the children become doctors, the children become lawyers. They do all this shit, men and women alike. Create families representative of the one they came from. All right, so
I
something has to be
disagree.
fractured.
I
Something got to be
disagree with that
fractured.
too.
Okay, so
You
the
can
black
disagree.
community
You can
today
disagree.
is a
You can disagree,
a
Scam.
gynocentric society. It's a gynocentric community. What are the good things that have come from that? Scam, you got the floor.
No, you're rigging a statement, and you ran from the question. Who runs healthcare? Because that's when we
Women
know
are
it's
the number one people in healthcare.
who runs healthcare, men or women. Who's standing at the top making the decisions, along with big pharma,
Now, wait, hold on. Now,
along with the food industry? Who runs these industries? I'm trying to
white
think of
dudes.
one other than makeup and
Okay,
cosmetology that
so
runs the world.
let me
Men run
entertain
it
Scam
all.
for a second. Let me entertain Scam. Scam, you are correct. If you look at, I would say I would go out on a limb and feel confident saying that 97% of the industries in America are ran by men, heavily dominated by men. I'm not even
Okay,
sure. I made that number on the top of my head. I'm not even have no facts data to back it up, but I feel confident saying that 97% of the industries are ran by men.
okay, no,
Okay,
fair.
but now hold on. But now, even though 97% of industries are ran by men, 97% of those industries also who are filled with men create opportunities for women, men, and kids. Under these male dominated industries and societies, men create opportunities for everybody to succeed. Now, what Trigger Mike is asking you, and please be genuine, because it's genuinely asking your question now. What Trigger Mike is asking you, and genuinely answer his question. What is the inverse of this happening?
That wasn't what I was. Okay, what he's doing is saying, okay, when it's fault time,
Uh,
the men go and they throw it on these women's. Go knock on doors, finding single moms, and blame it on them. But at the end
no
of the
one
day,
said
single
no one said anything
moms,
about a single mom scam. No one said nothing about a single mom.
no,
We
I'm
actually talking
saying
about we made,
that's
in this
coming in
conversation
point.
we made it about holistic people who what opportunity. We didn't say nothing negative about women. We didn't say anything negative about women at all in this
No,
conversation.
no, I'm gonna tell you. If 90% of the world is run by men, and you're already saying, well, what if women were in charge? The men are already in charge, and 58 of the 59 systems are failing. Who do
There,
we need to talk to?
no. So that's actually disingenuous. It's
And
not.
he's saying if
It is
we're
not.
back when we had
Hold on.
patriarchy,
So hold
that's
on.
what led to
The
what it is
men,
right now anyway.
hold on. The men are the owners. That's it. That they are the owners. What has happened is they use the government to lobby for women leadership under male ownership. So those women that are making the decisions, they now allow women to make the decisions thinking that they were doing something for equality. What those women have done is make it extremely unequal and started hiring more women in place of men. If you go, and I saw this stat maybe last year, if you go into every single female at the vice president level has hired a disproportionate amount of females more than her male predecessor did, and gay men. So they won't even give the way they sidestep this as an accusation. They won't even give males interviews in order to just say, well, we only had an applicant pool of all women. So go look at damn, I forget the dude's name. It might be Richard or something. He had a lawsuit against a health system in which they removed him from a vice president's chair position to deliberately put a female there, and they didn't even hide it. They put it in the memo that that's what they did, and they got sued for $10 million. That is what women are doing. All you need to do is peel back the surface and realize they are far more discriminatory than men could ever be. Men actually listen to the government and put some men, some women, some Latinos, some black, because we doing it by the book. Women are taking advantage of the fact that there's all this affirmative action, legislation for women, and they are not hiring men back into the positions they were originally in.
Trigger Mike, men created that system. Men run the court, men run the government, and the men are the CEOs who create the systems. And you're blaming women.
No, he's not. He's not blaming women.
You're cutting them top men off.
So Scam, this is actually what you're doing, bro. This is actually what you're doing. Because this is what the women love to see. This is what women love to see. They love to actually. So this is the worst part about it. No. You know what? Let me actually say it. At some point, you're going to have to realize as a man that if you gave women the right to vote and create legislation that affects you as a man, sometimes it actually has to be women's fault. If you give women power by proxy, some shit got to be their fault. They can actually do wrong under the leadership and or ownership of a male company. They can actually do that. So as we know, hold on. As we know, CEOs don't run companies. They are the figurehead. They hire women to run the company for them. Those women practice discriminatory practices by ways of hiring.
Trigger Mike, make it make sense. I know you probably read leadership books. And you say you want the woman to be the first teacher of the kids, but you can't give her any power. So restrict and keep her in a corner somewhere. Then you're going to raise daughters and sons. So you're literally making leadership replicates.
You're making
leadership replicates. So if you treat your subordinate, your spouse, as such, how's she gonna treat the kids? Then we complain about child.
Damn, you're like two seconds. Like, nobody's saying any. You're literally creating narratives.
But the very systems and all the actions are done and created and managed by men. But you're blaming the women.
It's Cam. If you was actually going to, okay, look, I have no problem. I know what you do. You like this role. But if you could you at least just troll on the point, on the argument? Do you? But at least troll on point.
Tell me, Scam, can you please tell me what I want to hear? Just say it direct.
No. I didn't even say what I want to hear. I'm just saying troll on point. Can you troll on point? No, can you troll on the conversation? Troll all you want to troll, but can you at least troll on the conversation? You don't have to say what we're saying. Don't say what we're saying. Just say something to the conversation that we're having, though.
No, Trigger Mike, hear me out. Men had patriarchy. They ruled everything. Women had no rights. 1900s, when they were doing femicide in early 1900s.
You do know there were women slave owners in the early part of American history, right? Black women slave owners.
I wonder where they learned that from.
Black women slave owners and white women slave owners.
Where did they learn that from?
I'm just letting you know, women in charge in the early 1800s. There were women in charge.
Okay, where did they learn that from?
They probably learned it from a man.
There you go. So
hold on, listen. What we're saying is, if the man did it and the woman did it, why you keep defending the woman? Just talk on the conversation, bro.
You don't want to hear it. You want me to tell you what you want to hear?
No, you don't have to say what I want to hear.
Run by men. Who do you need to talk to?
Go ahead, Mike. Work out, Mike.
All right, let me get these super chats read. This is the next one. Stanicia, how you doing? $5. It's clear Scam has never heard "I'm proud of you" from his parents. Just sad if this how you get off. Lauren Mack, $2. Mike, I like your shirt. Where'd you get it? I'm a Walmart shirt king. This is from Walmart. For real. I'm the Walmart t-shirt king. I used to do that like in college. I used to go to Hot Topic, but I feel weird as a 30-something-year-old man shopping in there now. But y'all tell me a better place to get
don't
t-shirts.
need to be spending no money on no clothes.
Hot Topic.
Lauren.
Oh, I'm guessing y'all know each other. But I Trey, my man. Oh, okay, got you.
But women spend too much money on clothes.
Got you.
I don't know. I'm a little bit lost.
I'm lost too.
Scam derailed this, bro. Let me get the next question for you. All right. Describe the lack of support you've witnessed within the Black community. So when I said lack of support earlier in my monologue, I played a video of a woman being upset that her mom didn't want to watch her kids. And that when most young millennials ask like their Gen X parents to watch their kids, it's a no, I've already raised y'all. Whoop. So I said that there's a lack of support in the community, which nobody really wants to help each other because they feel like they've done enough. Speak on that if you would, please. Trey, you there?
Oh shit, my fault. I stepped away. One more. You don't have to repeat it.
God damn, this guy.
I'm sorry. I got a couple.
All right, let me go to somebody else so they can get context. Ikene, go ahead. Answer the question for me, man. Describe the lack of support you've witnessed within the Black community?
Let me put it this way. I was watching a program today by I forgot the name of this guy. He's a big dude. It shows about Pan-Africa. And he was talking about Kamala Harris. She hosted a hip hop event to mark hip hop 60 years of hip hop. And this other guy is a light-skinned Black dude, but I think he's in the LGBT community. And on the YouTube, people were attacking Kamala Harris for not even doing anything for Black people. That all our policies, and as the second most powerful person in the United States, she's supposed to have done a lot for Black people, because she was the one that pushed the Asian discriminatory hate bill through Congress within few days of that stuff happening in Florida. But for Black people have been going through lynching for, let's say, let me just be more of dialogue in this matter. 3 years. It's been 3 years since Floyd was killed, right? But no single legislature has been passed to protect Black male. But she forced Congress to pass a legislation. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this. There is no Black politician that has done anything that I know today, or Black business that has done something in huge capacity to benefit the community. They've not done it. And I understand that as Black people, we might not be good with being punctual at work, but punctuality is not a culture. It's something that people can change. So knowing fully well of all I've known today, not just in the United States, Black people have not done much for the community. They've not done anything to further the community. They don't meet business people that will help to create jobs and further the interest of the community. Rather, they will go to comedians to speak for the Black community, go to entertainers to speak for the Black community, go for people that are more self-centered than people that will do things for the community. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. John the Baptist, Scam, you want to go on this?
I wasn't listening, to be honest. My bad.
I'll let Trey go. I'll let Trey go first.
I actually have a little bit of disagreement on the politician. I'm from DC, and we had a guy down here by the name of Marion Barry. Now, he was a little bit of a crackhead, and he actually was arrested, but he became mayor again. But when it came to actually implementing legislation that helped the Black community, he was one of the very few mayors that actually did do something for the Black people in this city, especially the Black youth. So I kind of disagree with you on that a little bit. When I see lack of support, I think in all phases, but ultimately, when I see support, I think the financial education to me is one of the biggest ones that sticks out. I think, I was fortunate enough to go to school on Capitol Hill. And so I went to school with senators' sons and daughters. And, our partner school was Sidwell Friends. For those of you who don't know what Sidwell Friends is, that's the school that the president's daughters or the president's children go to. So I got to see the world a little bit differently. And I always noticed that their kids were always being taught economics, business, how to sell things, how to buy things. Whereas in my community, we weren't. I think one of the things that our communities don't do is we don't teach economics from a standpoint of commerce. We'll teach it from, this is an eighth and turn an eighth into this. And we'll teach it from that standpoint, but we don't teach it from, a commerce standpoint, building a business. A lot of people don't even understand the LLC process. A lot of people don't understand real estate, LTV, cap rates, things of that nature. Don't understand stocks, price and earnings calls, any of those things. We don't teach our youth how to take $1 and turn that $1 into $10 and turn that $10 into $100. We don't do that. And to me, I think that's hindering our community. And I think we need a lot more financial education support for the youth, because at the end of the day, that's the only way, we're going to, as far as, you wanting to close this wage gap and all that stuff, you can't do it with 30 and 40-year-old Black people. You're going to have to do it with the young ones. You have to start young. And hopefully that the lessons will take heed to them and they'll be able to kind of turn it around. But unfortunately, we don't have enough of us that are in our 30s and 40s to be able to teach these young guys and women or girls.
Yeah, so I agree. Now, this is one of the things. So it's always like a overarching statement, basically saying we need to teach financial literacy, but I also need people to understand in what fashion those things are actually taught. So I hear that a lot in terms of when people say what we need to be doing in school, but school is not the answer to most things. This stuff is actually taught at home. The reason why, one of the things that I realized very early in my higher education career, looking at the education people have gotten prior to getting into college, is that your home structure is, and your zip code ultimately determines how smart of a person you're going to be for most of the people, right? So most of the things that these children learn, they learn it from home first. The reason Indians and Asians are so smart is because they get the curriculum beforehand. They teach it to their children at home, and those children come and test and blow us out the water in school. They didn't learn that shit in school. They learned it at home. Somebody prioritized teaching it to them at home first. My children learn everything now at home first, and they go test and blow everybody out the water at school. School is a testing site. Okay, how can one teacher pay enough attention to 30-something kids in a classroom to make sure all of them get an adequate education? The answer is they can't. So the parents have to do a bulk of the heavy lifting. So when we're talking about teaching people financial literacy and all of that, there has to be a home structure. There has to be a stable environment in the house, not only to foster that learning environment for them, but for people to be attentive to what the child needs. Business owners, I own a business. Both of my parents were business owners. Y'all see how that worked, right? I literally grew up getting B1 Yaki hair down because my mom owned a beauty supply store. I didn't end up selling hair, but you know what I mean. I learned in industry. I learned how to do customer service. I learned when people get finicky when their money is low. I learned a lot of shit. I learned that people steal, and stuff like that. I learned all of that because I came from it. So I want people to understand that the root of all of this is actually family. And people hate that word because it involves marriage, but still, it's actually family. Family is the root of it all. When people create a stable environment for you, they build a little bit of wealth. They maybe open a business, or they're extremely industrious. They pass those habits on to their children, and their children build on those habits to make better people. So I think that's one of the things holding the Black community back the worst, is because there is no family structure to teach children anything. And this is actually another point I wanted to make. I cannot stand to hear Black men or Black women talk about the bag, but then talk against marriage so much. There is no bag. Individually, black men and black women will be in last place for an eternity. Because the greatest wealth builder today, as it was 20 years ago, as it was 100 years before that, is marriage. That's the greatest wealth builder. It's the greatest wealth builder. There will never be anything that trumps it. So a bunch of individual people acting like they're getting to the bag when all these families actually have a bag together, actually have a equity in their house together, actually co-sign a loan and use grandma name, or they out here running circles around us with those very financial tactics. All right, grandma 70-something years old, and they gave her ass a loan so the young boy could start a business. That's the type of shit that they doing. They even look. I don't even want to kill the game right now. Let me tell y'all something the small hat community does in New York. They are killing the Social Security game by letting one person live with someone else so they can qualify for Social Security at 50. They use that type of shit to finance their business. But if we knew better and could stay in one house, we'd be able to do it too. But y'all go ahead, man. Y'all got it.
So, I mean, that's the only reason I wanted to say
Go ahead, Trey.
No. Go ahead, John. I already spoke. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. I was just going to say that. That's why I say I'm not speaking against education, but I think we need to get back to some common sense, just common sense stuff. If you want to talk about the black community, if you just do common sense stuff, like as far as raising your kids, to know the difference between right and wrong, critical thinking, how to respect others' property, your property, how to respect other people's bodies and other people's personal bodies and your personal body. How to learn, if you can learn common sense of like what a man is and what a woman is, and not try to crossbreed the two to be the exact same thing. If we learn this common sense stuff, my grandfather, I don't even think he graduated high school. I don't even think he graduated middle school. If I'll be honest, I don't think he graduated middle school. But one of the smartest financial men I ever met in my life. And you know what he said to me? His equation was, don't spend more money than you make. Got to, right? How simple is that? By that simple equation, if you don't spend more than you make, guess what's going to happen? You can buy a house, you can own a house, have equity in your house, you can borrow just equity in your house, you start a business, run a business with it. Just simple stuff. That's it.
This is what I was trying to say, right? Sugar Mike, I don't know if you were raised in Nigeria or here. When we were little kids back home, what we do is this: in the morning we go to school. When we come back from school at 2:00, or at 2:00, right? We get a 1 hour 30 minutes rest. After that 1 hour 30 minutes, by 3:30 we have to head out to we call it lesson. That's just what we call it in Nigeria, lesson. Lesson is a place where you have a tutor. A tutor will then tutor you for 2 hours from 4 to 6, and then you go home. So what the tutor does is that she or he tutors us ahead. So when we go back to school tomorrow, what is going to be taught us in school tomorrow is what the tutor actually taught us yesterday. So what we're going to be taught tomorrow is already taught yesterday at the lesson place. So that's how we get ahead. Yep. But when I came over here, I don't see that. They call it after school program, right? But after school program here was something that I don't really understand. But back home, after school program to us is to teach us math, English, social study, all those things that we do at school will be taught for 2 hours.
So it's sports. Here is sports. After school is sports. But one of the things that really got me, that's why I said it in the monologue. I didn't even realize it. My son has been going to Taekwondo now for about 5 months. And we went on Thursday, maybe 5:00. All of the kids. So it's on the Indian side of the neighborhood. All of the kids just got up, left, and went to the learning center thing. And I looked at the wall because my son goes to Kumon. He doesn't go there with them. That Kumon is actually full of Indian kids too. But it said math theory, math analysis, math this, math that. And I was like, what the God damn? They do that every other day with their children, learning things far beyond what the curriculum in their grade level. So, I'm just saying that we think the game is rigged. People out here blaming teachers. Blame yourself. You are supposed to that's a bigger problem on a larger scale. Parents are supposed to be teaching these kids. And when you look at the makeup of the US, if it's a single parent, they're too tired to do most of this stuff by they get home. Let's just be real. They're too tired. They don't have the time to do enrichment with their children, read to their children every night. They don't have time to do that. Most of them, or they don't know to do it because it wasn't done for them. So we got to change that culture entirely in this school.
Trigger.
That's another reason, Trigger.
Hey, Trigger, you had mentioned marriage. I would say that the only reason why I would even consider marriage is because I know if I get the right woman, I'd be able to double the bag that I got. Like if I get my hands on the right woman, you know what I mean? Like I know that one of the biggest positives that would come out of that is that bank account is going to shoot up further than what it already is. But there's a whole bunch of other nonsense I got.
Y'all, let me give some credence to what you're saying, bro. So since last year when I left my job to work on my gun business, all right, to bring it online to scale and to get this law enforcement contract, I did that shit immediately. So I had nothing to do. That's why I started this show. You see what I'm saying? I had nothing to do. And then I said I was going to open a ABA business for children with autism, right? Because I was supposed to be a behavioral hospital executive in the hospital, but I didn't understand how I could do that outside of the hospital and make the bread that they make in the hospital. So it's extremely hard to do that shit on my own. I've been sitting here days on end researching. We had found a space to do it. They had given us the basically how much it was all going to cost. It was going to be about $400,000. One of the biggest obstacles I had come across, bro, was like writing the employee handbooks, all the shit that you need. Do you know who found me a franchise that does all that shit for you? And all I got to pay up front is $50,000. Do you know who found that shit? My wife, bro. My wife. That's what we mean when we say the right woman will take you places. This lady seen me struggling every day to find something to do it on my own. And she said, well, look at these people. They can do that shit for you. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't understand. You don't have to do this shit by yourself. She was so interested in what the hell I had doing. She took her expertise to find somebody to do half the work for me. All they want is 50 grand. And hold up. They want 50 grand. You use their name. They'll come set up the place for you. They have a realtor to find me a new spot that was even cheaper.
Damn.
So, that's what we mean when you say the right woman is invested in your dream or whatever you got going on. Here's the funny part that people don't understand. Why would a woman do that for you? Dog, anything she do to help me, that woman is actually helping herself. That lady probably going to retire at 40 now. If the projections, because what they did with this franchise, about 2 Fridays ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a call with another black franchise owner. That's probably why they set me up with him. That dude made 1.9 million. Yeah.
Everything you said is important, right? I'm not even trying to do what you said because it's game. You turn the game on. But my question is, did your wife get that from somebody in the black community or somebody in another community?
Say that again.
Did your wife get information from somebody in the black community or some other community? The information that actually got you on track to your business.
It came from an Indian.
Okay, so another community. Which is the point I'm trying to have? Which point you making this conversation? Why do we keep saying black community? Because if we look at the black community right now, we can't even to get to what you're talking about with that Indian race with the Indian race they gave you. You can't get this. You can't get this what I call, as I throw up air quotations, in a black community because it doesn't exist. We can't get past the ABCs of marriage.
I agree.
So why we trying to like, hey, we're talking about PhD level education while we're on ABC level.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I got a question.
Go ahead,
bro. Like I said all the time, the biggest lacking thing when we talk about putting families together is this 2 words called relationship skills.
I agree.
But there are married men and single ones that every time it's something to talk about relationship, it's nothing but money. And money ain't but 5-10% of a relationship. Why is that?
I think your number's off.
Okay, 3 to 5%.
He meant going up. He probably meant it means more than people think nowadays.
It's definitely more than half.
No.
If the number one reason for divorce
I'm not gonna say half,
money,
Trey. That's wrong. It's the number 4 reason. Number 1 is communication. 2 is infidelity. 3 is
no. That's what you think. I'm
4
going
is money.
off to society.
And even when it comes to money, it's not about what a dude is making.
Reason for divorce is money. It's well more than 7 to 10%. Money plays a huge factor in the relationship and in the marriage. A huge factor.
Trey, it doesn't make sense because when you divorce, you make less money. Less money comes in. And when they married, they knew what the numbers were. It doesn't make sense, but the scanosphere will keep telling people that it got everything got to do with money.
All right. Speaking of money, Payne, you go on this question. If you have you been listening?
No, I just got home.
All right, no doubt. So we were talking about lack of support, but the next question up is, why is it so hard for Black people to build generational wealth? Y'all take it away. I'm gonna rejoin from the car.
Well, I mean, if I could go first, it's knowledge. There's communication, but it's each one teach one. It's knowledge, and we're a few generations behind. But I'm not so sure. Let me just take it from the baby boomers. I mean, and this is where I think some of us are at blame for at least one more thing. I'm not so sure how many baby boomers who had their children actually taught them, about how to handle money, because a lot of them didn't know how to handle it. I mean, listen, I was born in 58, but I'm still maybe the second or third cousin in my whole family, both across the board and deep, who graduated from college. Nobody else was going there. None of my aunts, and my father sure didn't teach me anything about money. My father played the numbers. He worked with the numbers, he played the numbers. So I didn't learn about, investing until I ran into this Japanese dude when I was like, 25, 30 years old. And he happened to share with me, some of the things that he did, and he was a traditional Japanese guy. He didn't have no Black friends. I could tell about that, but we were in engineering class together. So we just kind of hit it off. So then I started to learn, so the first thing I thought about was, how do I at least get my kids on a head start when they first start making money? So they wouldn't be like me. We have to work, 40 years to retire. And I was lucky enough to retire from a job that still had a pension plan. So after 38, 40 years, I was able to bring home almost 80% of my 3 years. I was pretty much of a high earner. So I can retire in New Jersey. So that's one thing we don't teach, even the kids in our own family, the children in our own family, enough about how to, put your house into trusts, wills, and all these kind of things that, you know how to keep money. I mean, and for this, Anton Daniels is pretty good about this when he talks about money. And there's a lot of YouTube channels that talk about money, that, pocket watching with JT and a lot of other stuff. So we don't spread the knowledge. There's some of us have it. I'm sure Trey, I know you have knowledge of money. I'm sure you're probably teaching your daughter, at least I hope you are. And some of the people in your orbit. What do you do with the cash that you have? How do you keep it? How do you do all that kind of stuff? We don't talk enough about it. I try to get some of my cousins, I'm gonna land it here. I try to get some of my family members to invest. They are petrified about putting their money in the market, but doing anything with their cash, man. Instead of getting a 1% in a savings account, be petrified. I got to tell them how, at least if you got a 401k plan, you got to at least put enough to match if they have matching funds. So it's crazy how Black people look at money.
I think a lot of the problem when it comes to us being able to build generational wealth is because a lot of the times Black people are hard-headed and don't want to listen. I had a bunch of friends, and when C-19 hit and the market took a tank, I told every friend, this is the time. We've been waiting on this. Anybody know what happened to the markets after 2008? Tons of millionaires and billionaires were created. And a lot of the times when these new millionaires and billionaires are created, it's typically on the heels of some sort of natural or catastrophic event that has happened. So to all my friends, this is what we've been waiting for. All that cash I told y'all to save, I kept telling you, put the cash away, put the cash away. Just wait. Because if some sort of catastrophic event is going to happen, the market's going to take a dump. And then when it takes a dump, after a while, it will recover. And more than likely, if it repeats the histories that it's always done, it will reach new highs. And that is exactly what happened. Now, I have one friend who listened to me. Out of all my friends, one friend who listened to me, he now has a 7-figure net worth and he's retiring next year before he turns 40. There's only one of them listening to me. A lot of the times when I can give this knowledge, I can tell y'all how to do this back and forth. I retired at 35 years old in the midst of the C-19, by the way. I can tell you how to do this, but nobody will listen. You won't listen to me. So why? I'm not one of these guys who's gonna build a course and charge you $59. I'm not doing all that. I'll give you the knowledge. I'll tell you exactly, hey, this is what you should do. And if you don't listen, that's on you. But I'm telling you, and it's going to happen again. I'm telling everybody right now, there will be, within the next 5 to 7 years, there will be another catastrophic event. And the markets will tank. And guess what? That is when all of these rich people start buying up everything. I'll give you another.
It's happening now. It's happening now. It's happening right now. That's right. It's happening right now. The market. The market is actually crashing right now.
I'll give you another example. Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina happened, and all that real estate went down. What did Donald Trump do? He took his $100 million jet, went right on down there, and started buying up property. That's exactly what he did. Every time on the heels of some sort of catastrophic event, millionaires and billionaires are created. And our community isn't smart enough to realize this, yet we're the ones typically that get hit the hardest through this catastrophic event. So how is it that we can hit it the hardest and we can't figure out how to profit off of it? But the other communities can? Come on, we got to be better. Sometimes it's just as simple as listening.
To go what you were just saying, Trey, you're right. If you learn how to save money when crises happen, you can buy anything you want, shit, pennies on the dollar. And to give context, what you're saying, it's actually happening right now. And so, because I'm in the process of trying to buy several trucks, because people sold it. The market's been crashing about the past year and a half, 2 years. So you're right, it's happening right now. And it's gonna get worse. But the point I want to add on to what Trey is saying too, is that it's kind of hard to have generational wealth. I'm looking at the word generational. When I think, and I could be wrong, but when I think of the word generational, I actually think about not just individuals, but groups of people. And in this context, talking about pass generational wealth down. Well, how do you, in order to pass it down, you have to have someone that's actually selfless. How can you be, if you're not selfless, but if you're selfish, how can you pass anything down? Whether it be wealth, whether it be information, whether it be, I mean, skills at anything. If you're worried about how to live as an independent woman or independent man, we're not worried about the next generation coming after you. I think you're doing your family a disservice. Because everything Trey was saying is spot on. Recognize what the economy is doing, put away money, save, buy cheap, pennies on the dollar, and then pass that down to the next generation. Pass information down to the next generation. And so we willing to do that for others before us, that's nothing we can pass down to the next society, but selfishness.
Yeah, I agree with all of y'all, honestly. I just want to add something to it. We talk about generational wealth, and they don't start with the basics. A lot of people lack survival skills, but they're surviving anyway right now, which means they're inflated. It's probably why they're overweight. People can't manage a diet or their own damn body. 70-something%. Most people are physically failing. Physically failing is going to affect your mental health. What's going into your body is actually in your body. It's going to go into your mind. We live in a negative society. Negativity in, negativity out. That destroys your mind, destroys your confidence, self-esteem. And you're telling people to go out here and generate wealth. Even if they did have the money, what would they do? Wealth for what? When they can't manage the very things that are free. They can't beat the fridge. And you talk about going and beating, because I know somehow it's a mysterious white man that got all this money and he's waiting to compete against you. How they gonna beat them? You can't beat the fridge. I don't know where the gym is. R-Pain, you're muted. But that's before you even get outside. That's before we talk about education, critical thinking, discipline, structure, relationship skills, communication. I'm just saying.
You got. Listen, nobody can argue your points. Nobody can really argue. But
no, but I'm just saying it because they create on YouTube these fictional characters, what this man is supposed to be. The super alpha out. I ain't never done this. Then they create the women. The women, if they're 22, they hit the wall, and there's people eating it up. Yeah. Then they log off and hit the red X and cry themselves to sleep. Like, man, I don't know what the hell to do with a pizza in their hand.
Oh man, but we ain't talking about that. But listen, the point is that life is a balance, right? Between your finances, your health, your education, and whatever, your family life. I mean, so there's about people do get out of balance. That's why a lot of our stars are so gifted, but they're out of balance in their personal life. They might be in shape, but their family life is shit, right? Because they concentrate on their music or their political leanings or whatever the profession they're out of balance in. So you're correct. It all is on this wheel, and it has to be in balance. That's true. But being out of balance for one thing is not an excuse for the other things. It's a hindrance, but it's not an excuse. So, So anyway, but you're right though. So it's not really an argument. I don't really have an argument for what you're saying. But
No, actually, what Scan was saying, I'm gonna join on this troll. He is actually right.
he is
Being
right.
overweight, being overweight is a sign of being undisciplined.
That's true.
And no, so you can't argue that point. So if you're undisciplined, I'm not saying that if you're overweight, you can't be successful in any other area of your life. But it is a sign that you may be unorganized or undisciplined in many other areas. Not
That's
always
true.
true, but it's a sign
No,
that it could be.
true. I think
And
it's
and
true.
that's what and that's
I think it's true in every case. It's just a matter
and
of how
so
much it impacts your other areas because people
and
do
so I
judge
pay
you that
attention. And I
way.
pay attention. I do pay attention to young people who are overweight. Not even just young people, old people, but most definitely young people. Because it bothers me when I see young people who are overweight and out of shape. Because it's like that means you really haven't had any drive. You haven't had any skill, any discipline when you're young and overweight.
That's
I
the
mean,
impact.
like 30 and below. I'm like 30 and below. Because like at 30 and below, it's like 20, I say 18 to 30 is like your prime years with your physical health. I'm not saying you should be able to say past 30. I'm saying 18 to 30 is your prime years of like when you probably gonna have the most energy to work and exercise and to be healthy. You can be healthy past 30, but it becomes more difficult past 30.
It's true.
And so when you see young people who are out of shape in their 20s and 30s, it can be a great sign that their house is not going to be clean, their car's not going to be clean. If they have kids, the kids not going to be disciplined. It's a big sign, whether you want to talk about it or not. So, and that could be another reason why, as black folks, if you want to talk about the black community, why we can't build generational wealth.
It's a point. That's a point.
Yeah, that.
And Mike, you got something on there? Oh, I don't know if he's back. Yeah.
Let me see. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I realized, I think building generational wealth, that particular term, I don't think we use it correctly or we understand what it actually means. When it is not like a bunch of money all the time. And I think people, especially in this culture, are too cash focused. Like even right now, I keep my cash stores very low. Like, my wife used to love looking at money in our savings account, but nobody ever saved their way to being rich. You have to invest your way into doing it. So we have a weird relationship with that term generational wealth. I think not only should you be investing in things that, build value or hold value over time, like real estate, you should also look at it from a community aspect of what lessons and teachings you're passing on to your children. That is generational wealth. If somehow I lost every dime to my name on the day that I died, I would at least feel some comfort in knowing that my children understand the exact methods in which I built that wealth in the first place. Because I don't think we pass on any of that to kids, right? Like Trey was saying, you pass on some illegal shit sometimes. You pass on some really dark methods like, hey, you just need to hustle this little. No. I'm talking about, listen, this is what we're going to do. The house we have has equity in it. You're going to go get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. You're going to use that to buy into blank. We don't teach enough of that stuff to our children, right? So, and they have to learn these things secondhand or not at all. Passing generational wealth just means passing on education. So if they ever fall or go back to zero, they'll be able to make it back up. I think that is the resource of most billionaires. It's not that these people, remember, like Elon Musk was like a day from bankruptcy when he got his government deal. 1 day from bankruptcy. And his actual resource is the fact that he can build himself from zero. That is Bill Gates' actual resource. Not the fact that he got money, that he has enough knowledge to build himself from zero if he ever went back to it. That's what I'm trying to instill in my kids. Not just money, not just houses. Do you have the ingenuity to create something from nothing? And I don't think a lot of people do in our community. That's why we're always looking to the government to help us with shit. My mic's muted.
Add on to what Trigger was just saying too. Stop taking information that you get from your friends only. You can talk to your friends, but get you some lawyers, get you some accountants. If you're not great at market research, hire some people that can do market research for your industry. They can, they can tell you what you don't know. Start acquiring people who can find out stuff that you can't find out for laying the field that you want to move into. Just stop shit. I'm not saying your friends can't be a great resource for information, but you just can't stop with your friends. You need business lawyers who are actually in your field. You need accountants who are actually in the field that you're trying to get into, and you need people who know about market research in your area that can tell you about what other companies are doing and how you got to compete with those other companies, whether it be small, medium, or large. How can you maneuver? And you can't do that without research, market research being done in your field.
All that stuff makes sense. I was it was funny. I was like in my, I guess, early 40s, and where I was working, and the old head man, he was pretty much in his 60s like I am now. He asked me, he said, "Well, you got your will together and stuff like that." And at that point, I still didn't. I had two young kids and my wife. And he ripped me a new one, man. He said, "Listen, man, we're sitting in these meetings thinking that you're the next guy to run some of this stuff out here. And you don't even have the basic shit together for your family. What happens? If something happens to you, something happens to your wife, where do your kids go? What happens with all of that stuff?" I went down and I got a lawyer the very next day and fixed all of that. I didn't do no damn legal Zoom shit. I went down, sat down, me and the wife with a lawyer, wrote everything out. And cost me around $800. But I said, man, I would never get caught out like that. And I talk to people about that kind of stuff. You'll be surprised how many married couples don't have a will. And the biggest thing is not just for how you're going to, share what your possessions are, but what happens to your children if something happens to both of you, right? The last entity you want to make judgment on what happens to your kids is the state. That's funny. A few years later, maybe 10 years later, me and the wife were going to go on a cruise, and we didn't update our will at all. And I said, what we put down 10 years ago doesn't apply now. So we had to go and get our wills updated before we went on that trip. It was critical to me to have it updated before we left, right? Because beneficiary, a lot of shit had changed, and the kids were older. A lot of stuff had changed. So that's basically the baseline of having your shit in order, And so I tell people that all the time. I guess another question is a rider to the question that you have, on that last question, though, Trigger Mike, was how do we get people to start to lower their guard, start to be more receptive to this kind of talk? We got people who say they don't want life insurance because it means it's a predication for them to die. That kind of ignorant shit, right? I don't want to talk about that. And if I talk about life insurance, then I'm kind of, asking a boogeyman to come get me. And there's people like that. We got that kind of spook kind of thing in our community. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm sure it's not just our community, but I'm only talking to Black folks. But anyway, I mean, I think that's part of it.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Aside from the troll that you see, because I mean, it is what it is. Influence. A lot of people try to lead from position, saying, I got this and you don't. So listen to me. No. People don't like that. They ain't hearing that. 30 years ago, maybe, because it's how people were trained. Back with patriarchy, with leadership by force, respect your elders, do this, do a good job. Don't look left, don't look right, do as I say. Those are people who just listen to what you say when you stand on top of them. The newer generation doesn't think that way. Most of it is emotional, and they need to be heard. It's a communication thing. It's not an information thing. They need to be listened to more and talked to less. They need to be shown how to navigate. Actually, their navigation skills are better if you give them opportunity to start navigating for themselves. But their mindset initially lacks trust, lacks belief, lacks confidence, and lacks the discipline to do some of the basic things. These aren't people who can just get up 7 o'clock, go to gym, and work there consistently doing the same thing for 30 years.
I'm not even 4 anymore.
Uh-oh. Little person.
That's Mike.
That's Trigger Mike.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If you're talking about the younger people, spend more time understanding how they think and understanding more of where they are and meet them where they are first. If you come blasting them, they ain't gonna listen. And most of them, they're not going to listen anyway.
I agree with that. I think that goes for anybody. Like, that's the whole saying. You got to wait till the student is ready before the teacher appears. I agree with that. If they ain't asking, they're not going to be receptive to what you say. I can tell you. That's true.
I'm in the middle of that, my generation. So I understand all of the generations and watching them all break down. I see the pros and cons.
Right.
And the connection of the older talking to the younger is horrible. And it's getting worse and worse by the day. But that communication barrier needs to be fixed because all it's doing is making other people who can't communicate. That's all it's doing.
I mean, it's, like I said, there's no way to argue any of those points because it's all true.
Or just troll.
Not that I want to, but it is true. I mean, but folks have to learn how to communicate. Some people think they ain't doing anything wrong because the way they communicate is the right way. So that needs to be fixed. I mean, it's all of a frame of reference, because if you communicate the way you've always done and you don't look at what the results and outcomes are, you never really get better.
Yeah, so like Eric J's comment.
I understand where you're coming from.
Now, Eric J's comment, why should I believe in people that failed me? That's actually a lot of the thinking. And like if you go talk to marriage to a 26-year-old, they see you as the deacon that their mom was cheating with, why their parents ain't together. That might be what they're saying. So if you don't ask and you had a full conversation and just blast off at them, they ain't gonna listen. Or they see you as the dude, the minister. He looked just like you. The minister that ran out with $5,000 and they found him in the strip club.
Yeah,
he looked just like you. Why would they listen? Or
and I hear that.
See people saying, "Oh man, I'm gonna show you how to make big money," and they broke. So once again, why should I listen to you?
Yeah, I hear. I mean, you're looking at it one way, right? But I mean, I guess it's only. I mean, like I said, I can't argue with that. But I do have anecdotal experience with that kind of stuff. Because in my family, I'm one of the guys who's an advocate for marriage. And I never blast those guys out because we have a lot of unwed mothers and unwed fathers, both, on both sides, So I got young male cousins who have kids outside, and I have young female cousins who have kids outside. So, when we get to talking, I said, well, what's your intention with your significant other? What is it? What you going to do? And how you going to take care of yourselves and the babies? Some of them are actually wanting to get married. And that's when they'll ask me questions. Other ones, they want to stay single. I definitely don't try to pressure anybody into getting married because that's crazy. That definitely has to be a choice that they think about. So I know that, So I learned these lessons about communications in my position at my work, things with my wife, and how I had to gear the way I talk to her to get the best out of her. There was a learning experience, right? So, so I still learning, but it's pretty good. So I agree with you 100%. That's not what I.
Even AP agrees with scam. So AP says, "Can't believe I agree with scam."
We're talking about the male-led society. I think that was shout out to AP. But AP, I say stuff that makes sense a lot of times, but they don't listen. So I just usually just go ahead and tell them.
No, don't get a big ass head. You squeeze that 5%. About 5% of it is non-trolling good sense. But
you're trolling 90% of the time.
The rest of it, questionable. But
oh my God!
Anytime black people come in to assets, they sell them. Oh my goodness! All right, so let me be real. This is probably one of the truest statements that nobody ever wants to hear. Be quiet. Nobody ever wants to hear this. That this is what happened to most of black people's assets. When they do get passed on, you sell them. And I think maybe, help me figure this out. Is it because people don't actually understand the value of these assets that they're selling? Meaning, if your parents, your grandma, your great grandparents left you a property, and it's usually what I think it has to do with is that too many black people are they're city boys, city girls. So let's say somebody left you some rural property. I can almost guarantee you do that with a black person from the city, most of it they're just gonna sell it. They don't see the value in upkeeping that property, taking the equity to start a business, doing a home equity. They don't see the value in it because it's cumbersome to most people. So what do y'all think about that?
No, it's absolutely true.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sugar Mike, as much as I might be roasting, trolling, and dusting and crusting, if you talk to people as individuals, you'll find that they do nothing but 80% of what they were taught to do. So if they weren't taught to do something, expect them to do the default. And the default is something to do with their environment. We live in an environment where people eat. That's what they do. They buy crappy food, they eat. They don't go to the gym. This is what people do. They watch TV. They watch social media. The dudes go raw dogging. So if it's not taught to do something different, what do you expect them to do? So you take somebody who wasn't financially educated, and give them some finances. The default's going to kick in. That's just what it's going to be. But most of the behavior, everything you complain about, it was taught or not taught. And they just fall into the default. Most people are followers by nature, the men and the women. And they just spin around in circles doing whatever. So now there's a whole environment of it. So expect them to do that. To be honest, there's no white community either. They only, $2,000 more? But they don't work with each other. They're banging each other's wives, smoking wet meth, doing not too much better.
I agree.
Let me just add also that to your original question, Mike, a lot of people the younger ones don't really understand what it took for their parents to gain what they have. That's another reason why it's so easy to give it away or sell it. They didn't know the struggle, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into buying a property, paying for it, or making it a legacy to them. So when somebody offers them a deal that they think is good because of their immediate circumstances, they take it, right? So, so I mean, I think I've been guilty of that a little bit, but that was with a house. I didn't feel like being a landlord, but the land that was passed down to my wife in down south, we ain't getting rid of that. We pay the taxes on that all the time. We're going to keep that forever. Matter of fact, I was going to go ahead and do an assessment of where's that and what we can do with it. So we're not giving up the land.
Let me say this real quick. I had to hop back on because this is one of the biggest. This is something that irritates me the most about our community. Really bothers me. When Big Mama dies, right, or Grandpa dies, and they leave you that house, right? What it does is it increases your net worth. It's clear and free, right? There's a deed that comes along with that home. It's clear and free. Your net worth has just increased. Well, what does having a higher net worth help you with? It helps you with your credit. Right? If you want to go borrow some money for a home or for a business, they're going to ask you, what assets do you have? Because they want to know what they can collateralize. Well, lo and behold, you got Big Mama's house that was given to you. So you have something. So you don't give these houses away, right? What you do is you can take out certain loans if you don't have the cash, remodel the home. Now we live in the Airbnb life, Airbnb time. You can rent the house out. And if you don't want to manage the property, hire a property management company. They're going to take 8 to 12%. That's fine, but that's what you signed up for because you don't want to do it yourself. There's all types of options, but you do not sell the asset. That is never what you do because this is a part of the generational wealth. And to Trigger's point, a part of this generational wealth, and somebody wrote it in the chat, and I completely agree. A part of the generational wealth is actually teaching the ones that come after you the plan, the process. Hey, when I pass, this is what you do with the house. My family does not like to talk about death. I am one of the first people that ever told them, no, we're going to sit down at the table and we're going to discuss death because everybody needs to have a plan on what to do. Every single one of us has an life insurance policy on the other. All of us do on the other. We would have never had that had not one person stepped up and said, no, we need to have this conversation. There needs to be a plan put in place that if I pass, this is what you do. This is what the trust is for. This is what your last will and testament is for. This is what you leave these directions for to say, hey, this is what you do with these properties when I pass. That what you don't do is you don't call some guy who's got a sign on the side of his truck that says, we buy houses, and you call that guy up and then he gives you the worst deal that you're ever going to have on a home, and then you just sold away grandmama's house that they spent the last 30 years on paying for. That's not how this works. That house is supposed to be able to be remodeled. Maybe you can make some additions. A lot of you guys need to go down to your office, your state office, and find out if you can do, I think it's called ADC or something like that, where you can add an additional unit onto the back or something like that. A lot of you guys have opportunities to turn, what's a couple $100,000 into $500,000, but you won't do it because you won't do the extra work. Just do the extra work and you'll be surprised at how much you can actually help your family. I say this all the time. My grandmother owns her home clear and free. And my mother owns her home clear and free. One of the best parts about not having any men around in my family is I don't have to share none of it with any other men. I'm going to get my grandmother's house and I'm going to get my mama's house. That right there, just between those two houses, is over $800,000. And that's going to increase my net worth just in those two homes alone. Because we're in DC. So both of those homes go for about $430,000. Just between those two homes alone, I'm going to increase my net worth when they pass $800,000. We got to stop doing this. And if we don't understand how to do it, you need to be teaching your children, your grandchildren, the plan on what to do when you pass. Start having these uncomfortable conversations. Please.
Yeah, Trey, good point. I was just saying the people weren't taught and are not being taught. Then there actually are some people who actually want information. And then they click something, they go find somebody. And it's Slick Jimmy on YouTube who's lying to him, and he's going to be the one scamming him out that house. Or Slick Tony from the church. Got a bright red suit on with 68 buttons. But they don't know how to check out a person and see who's a scam artist or not. Now, my name is Scam Likely, so I can be trusted. But it'd be like that.
Yeah, man. And for real, not only is it, I think if we're going to be realistic about it, because we got to remember a big issue we got as black men is sometimes when we talk from our level of competence, we make other black men feel stupid as hell. Like, you know, I had that going on when I was young, especially on this real estate topic, because I was in healthcare. I didn't know anything about real estate, and sometimes people sound so confident that it sounds like everything we're saying in an undertone, like, you dumb motherfucker. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, y'all should know better than this. So the one thing I will say is, you not only is the education on this stuff important, but if you do get a property, and men are going to be afraid when you hear that you're going to have to pay taxes on a property, you're probably going to want to. That's probably where the breakdown is for most people. Whoa! This is going to take money out my pocket. That dude Trey was talking about on the side of the car. Most people in my neighborhood got that shit on the side of their car, which is pretty funny. Everybody buy houses out here, right? But I would say be very careful when you're doing that, because you can. This is another way you can sidestep that taxes, because if we are smart enough to tell our kids or put this stuff in a trust, so because I don't think you have to pay taxes when it's in a certain type of trust, or at least for a certain amount of time. So we got to get people more education on these financial instruments so they can take advantage of it later in life.
Well, here's the thing, right? I would say this. First of all, see if you can have grandmama buried on the property. That'll help you out a lot. You may be able to get that property free from taxes forever. You got to check with your county and with their laws and their policies. But Donald Trump pulled a hell of a move with his ex-wife with that. Okay, put it on his golf course. That man's never gonna have to pay tax on that golf course ever again. It's brilliant, burying his ex-wife on that property, right? So you got to find out if you can get that done. The second part of that's what these renters are for. If you're going to rehab the property and you don't want to pay the taxes, rent the property out and let them pay the taxes, right? If that's your biggest concern is, I don't want to pay the property taxes, fine. Rehab the property, move somebody in there, let the property manager manage the property, and maybe you may only make $150 a month on it, but that's not the point. The point is you just want somebody to be able to pay the property taxes so you can keep the property in your family. I got another property right now that my great aunt, she passed away. She was 96. She has a home. It's right off of H Street. Anybody from DC will know what I'm talking about. Right off of H Street. That house is about $600,000 right now. And she gave it to her daughter. Her daughter doesn't want the house because the roof needs to be fixed and whatnot, yada, yada, yada. Now, this was the house that when my family left Orange, Virginia, this was the house they all moved into when they came up into DC. So it has some sentimental value, right? She wants to sell the home now. So she's literally giving away $600,000. She's just giving it away because she doesn't want to pay $20,000 to rehab to rehab the house, to fix the roof and fix some other things, fixing the house. But the thing is, she also doesn't want to sell it to me because me and her don't get along, right? So because her and I don't get along, I offered to buy the home. Don't get along. So now what we're trying to do is, I probably shouldn't even say this on social media, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to do a backdoor deal. My grandmother buys the home, and then my grandma's going to sell me the home. That's what we're trying to do right now. But I think she's hip to it. She's hip to it. I think she understands, like, no, that she doesn't want to do it. It has become so personal. She just doesn't want to sell me the home. She'd rather just let some, excuse my language, but it's the truth. She let some gentrifier come in and buy the home rather than keep it in our family. Like, these are the common generational wealth mistakes that we make within our community, within our family. Rather than her giving it to her second cousin, right? She'd rather sell it to a gentrifier instead because her and I don't get along. That's where we at. So $600,000 gone from our family like that, just on feelings.
Why don't you go get a white dude that you know, put a suit on, write up a half contract, send him over there to go buy the property, work the deal out in some kind of LLC that you own.
I don't have any white friends that I could trust like that. So that's not really an option.
Write up the contract in the back of the Uber, send him over there.
Because then if he decides to sue, now I'm sitting in civil court for the next 8 months, and I got to pay a lawyer $40,000 to get back a home that I should. It's just not worth it. At the end of the day, I'm not completely worried about it. But my thought process was, when all of the elders in my family die, I could have $1.4 million. That's how I was thinking in my head. Like, my grandmother dies, my mother dies, and when I get this house, that's $1 million in real estate just in the DC area alone. That's how my mind was operating. That's how I was thinking. And what a great real estate package I would be able to wrap up, put in my trust, and hand over to my daughter when the time comes. That's how I was thinking. But, you know, personal feelings aside, I'm going to have to just take my grandmother and my mother's house.
Trey, can I ask you a question? Did you set up the trust already?
Yes, I did that while I was in the military.
So you went with you go to a lawyer to do that, correct?
Yes, I did go through a lawyer, and I got a. I always get this confused. I got a revocable trust. I believe revocable is one that I can change. So I got a revocable trust. I made myself the trustee, and my daughter is when she was born, she became the beneficiary.
So let me ask you another question about that. So that protects your property and whatever's under the trust away from things like a catastrophic illness for you, where they take the equity out to pay your, say, long-term medical bills or something like that, correct?
Well, I won't have to worry about that because I have insurance. So no, I have like life. It's a part of my life insurance policy.
What does that protect as opposed to just dying?
What, the trust?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The whole purpose of a trust is to take you out of probate court. So for those of you who don't know, right, when you pass away, and let's say you have debt, your debtors can sue your estate to get their money back. The way you avoid this is by setting up a trust, because they cannot sue the trust. So when you have a trust, whatever assets you put in the trust, right, are given directly to whomever you say they're given to. Like you leave a set of directions, right, on who to give it to. But if you have just a will, right, if you just have just a will, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when you pass away, in most places, it is broadcasted to all of the companies around the world. Like they will let them know, hey, this person, like R. Payne, passed away. And so people will know, okay, well, R. Payne owes us $60,000. So now they can sue your estate. So say you got a life insurance policy when you passed away of $500,000. Well, now all these debtors are going to start coming in and saying, hey, he owes us this much. They can't do that with a trust. So this is the reason why I tell people all the time, regardless if you have assets right now or not, your bank account should be in a trust. My bank account is in a trust. Everything that you have that is of an assetable nature should be in a trust. Everything. Your home, your bank account, your stock portfolio, your real estate portfolio, everything about you should be separate from your money at all times. You can just be the trustee. It's just, we're playing financial games. It's really what we're doing. But what we're doing is we want to make sure we separate ourselves. Like I say all the time, Trey, the person you guys are hearing, broke as hell. I am broke. I don't have no money. Zero. I have ends out. My trust, however, is a little bit different. Me personally, I'm broke.
Let me ask you a question. One more question about the house. Does it have to be free?
I was going to say something.
Let me finish the question. Does the house have to be free and clear to go into the trust? Does it have to be all paid off?
No.
Okay.
No, you just have to talk to the mortgage company about that. Some mortgage companies are willing to put that loan in a trust. Some are not. You're gonna have to have that conversation with them. But I do know people who have a mortgage and it is in a trust.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Ikene.
Apart from trust, just like Trey was saying, like if on my channel I've discussed that a lot. Real estate investment is not the best investment, but also is a sustainable investment that actually secure people's income. Because trust is not something. Trust is the best way to set up family for generations to come. Just like if you look at the Rockefellers, the JP Morgan, those people put their businesses in trust. That is why their kids don't run their business today, but their kids are paid for life. Their generations to come are paid for life. But trust in the Black community is something that they are finding difficult to embrace. But sometimes when it's complicated to most people, I'll tell them, you know what, buy lands, buy real estate. But the best thing to buy first are lands. Don't go buy a $1 million house if you cannot afford to pay the mortgage. But for $1 million, you can buy lots of lands. You can buy lots of lands that you can pay off over time. And you can pay off a couple of them faster. And as time goes on, you can actually sell one land to develop one real estate. Let's assume right now, I like to give examples. Let me put it this way. Let's assume you have 10 pieces of land, each of them worth $100,000. The 10 acres, right? You got it, luckily you got it from an undeveloped area. It's worth $1,000,000 because each 1 acre worth 100,000. So you bought 10 acres for 1 million. You can partition all those acres into half an acre, half an acre. Now you have 20 plots, right? Of that 20 plots, 10, 15 years or 20 years down the road, you can actually sell those in just one plot if it happens to be in a very, very developed area in the future. You can sell just one of those plots to develop, to build a real estate that you can turn around and sell that real estate for 1 million, right? And then you do the same thing. This way you can make more money in the future, or you can build more, you can build a bigger company. This is what I always tell people. Land property is good when you don't have the money to buy multiple real estate. But if you want to buy multiple real estate, it's good, but do understand that there is something called fluctuation in market. So the market will fluctuate. It might be underwater, it might be a boom, it might be a bust. So, but buying property, buying land properties, because I have a lot of land properties, that's what I'm saying, is a very, very good idea.
So anybody want to answer the question below? Are most Black people proud to identify themselves as Black person? Why or why not?
I mean, I would imagine. I think that most Black people are proud to be Black. I think that most people are proud to be Black. I don't think that most people are proud of the reputation we have. That's forthcoming or set about us, or what people think about us. But I very rarely come across people who aren't proud to be Black. I'm proud to be Black. I personally, I wouldn't want to be anything else other than Black personally. But I can understand how some people see, other ethnicities and races having an advantage. But I typically always question their energy and how lazy they are when it comes to the things that they don't have. But I think for the most part, but it may be slim. It may be like 51-49, Rich. Like, it may be slim when I say most. But I do believe, I think most Black people are proud to identify themselves as Black.
Well, here's you know what, on that point, the only thing I see is any Black person who's melanated Black, their skin looks Black on the outside. It seems sometimes if they have anything mixed in there, like Indian, or whatever, they say, well, I'm not just Black, man, I'm Cherokee, I'm this, I'm that. And I find those people who are fast to identify the little small piece of them that's not Black over the fact that their colors. And there's a lot of people who don't like Black because it's a social construct. I don't necessarily like African American either. I just want to be an American because that's what I am, but I don't have any issue being Black. I just think that I think we accept things as I think we accept being pacified too much. Like, the Juneteenth as a damn holiday is something that we didn't need as a holiday. It was a pacification by Biden just to get us to shut up. But I'm proud of being Black. I think that Black Americans are special among Black people. Really, I do. I think if it wasn't for us, especially in the past, our collective anger has changed the world for Black people. Unfortunately, I think that's what put us under a social conditioning to try to destroy us as families. Like I keep telling people, Nelson Mandela would have died in jail if it wasn't for Black Americans. And I don't think South Africa would be, I don't consider them free, but I don't think their government would have changed unless it was the outcry, economic outcry from Blacks here in America. And I'll argue with that with anybody, So Black Americans, I think, have a unique position as Black people in the world, even over Africans, because Africans have their own country, they have their own cultures. They didn't have the same oppression in their land as we do. They have a different kind of oppression over there. But I think being Black is special, and I think it's taken a full-fledged force of those social engineers to break us apart. And it's unfortunate that they've succeeded in so many ways. And, you know, our inner cities tell us that. The Democratic Party shows us that by what they are doing now by trying to replace Black people with immigrants as their new voting bloc and things of that nature. And some of it is our own demise because we vote in fear of the white man as opposed to getting over that shit and moving forward. So, but basically, I think Black people who are proud to be Black are Black, and then they got people who do overkill. That's the Blackity Blacks. I don't agree with a lot of shit that they say because they find monsters under every goddamn rock, and I don't believe in that. You know,
Mr. Penn, the problem is, check this out, right? The community just is so financially unbalanced. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's so financially unbalanced. And the reason why it's financially unbalanced is that a lot of people don't understand the concept of finance. And when you don't have when you don't understand the concept of finance, right, you can't transfer it to the next generation. You technically have to go to somebody else that understands it and then be able to transfer it. The problem is we have a lot of people in the community that don't even teach their kids how to count money.
No.
But then they can teach their kids how to do other stuff that don't make any financial sense. Like I know someone that will, like I was talking to this lady back in 2008. So she just had a son that was she had a son when I met her, she was 2 years old. And she was going to Foot Locker buying shoes, Jordan, that were $200 and something for a child that was 2 years old. That you know within 6 months, the child is going to grow out of that shoe, right? Yeah. And I kept telling her that this does not make any financial sense. Why are you spending so much money on this little kid that doesn't even understand what you're spending money for? This child has no memory of this. He's not going to have the memory of this shoe. The child can only grow to the age of 5 and know that there is a shoe for a 2-year-old child in my room. But he's never going to have the memory of the day he wore that shoe. He's not going to have that memory. And you spending $100, $150 buying a shirt, paying about $70. So this child is wearing $500 worth of clothes at the age of 2. And guess where she was working? She was working for Sonic. You know the Sonic hamburger store?
Yes.
That's where she was working, spending $500 on dress and shoes for a child, 2-year-old. So it's a heart of irresponsible. And to even tell you how bad this is, right? It's a lot of people that do this in the community.
No doubt.
It's a lot of people.
What did she say to you? Did she say mind your business?
Did she tell me mind my business?
Yeah.
She really didn't tell me to mind my business, but it became a problem between the two of us. So we couldn't get along most of the time. And it led to us not really talking to each other. You know, we just kind of moved on. Like the friendship went into friend zone, and I stopped calling her. I was done.
That's funny, man. Hey, here's a $2 super chat, right? The Most High, $1.99. I'm sure it says, "Is Scam We Trust." He said, "I'm Scam We Trust," but I'm sure it's in Scam We Trust.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm about to shut the show down for the day. Thank y'all for coming through.
Yeah. All right,
maybe back. No doubt.
Thank you, Mike.
Depending on what time. No doubt, fellas. See y'all another time. Depending on what time Chaotic come on tomorrow, I may be on. If not, we'll definitely be back on for Wednesday. So I appreciate y'all.
All right, man.
All right.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for coming through. Catch y'all next time, man. Trigger Mike Show is out. Appreciate all the super chats. Hope y'all got something for the show we had today. I thought it was a dope one. Get those likes up and drop a like on the way out, man. Thank y'all for coming through to the Trigger Mike Show. Hope this was a good one for y'all. We out.